Win $1,000 right now. 97.5 The Fanatics signing bonus.
That's right. You can win right now $1,000. All you have to do is text the word estate. Estate. ESTATE to 45911. Or you can enter it on the Fanatic, 5thefanatic.com. One winner selected at random will win $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Winners will get a call from Beasley, so be sure you answer your phone. Complete rules are at 975thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic signing bonus is presented by Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. Demand Rand for justice. Please don't text and drive. It's estate, ESTATE, to 45911. As always, good luck.
Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, good morning, Delaware Valley and beyond. A great start to this Monday morning. So excited today. Game 2 tonight. Your Phillies are on a 6-game winning streak. Your 76ers play Game 2 tonight. So we'll take a look at all of that and all things going on here in the great sports world of Philadelphia. We are joined today by our ray of sunshine. That is Amy Fadul. How are you today, Aim?
Very well on this Monday. Very well.
Are you confident?
Confident.
Just real quick, you're confident for tonight.
Confident.
Okay. We did a confidence level check earlier. Amy went 2 thumbs up. Ray, I didn't see your confidence level go either way.
I still feel pretty good.
You still feel well. You should. Yesterday was your birthday. Happy birthday!
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I hope you had a great day. I hope you remember some of Saturday. Yeah,
I do remember all of Saturday. Thank you for pointing that out, Bob.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
I want to check in. I don't want to get you in trouble with your parents.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Or the boss.
Why? Saturday you were off?
It was off. That's a good point.
Yeah,
sorry, I forgot. I was off.
You can do whatever the hell you want when you're off.
That's
man.
a good point.
Don't you worry about the bosses. So. All right, so before we get into, obviously, our Sixers talk, and we have plenty of it. Well, you can't get to the middle pages of the paper until you do the front page.
Now, the first page. The stories everyone's talking about. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yes, Game 2 tonight for your 76ers, 7:30 start up in Madison Square Garden. So many things to look at in that Game 1, which Amy and I will do all day. Well, till 2 o'clock today at least. First thing I thought of was you have to lessen the 23-9 offensive rebounding advantage that the New York Knicks had. There's reasons for it. We'll look into that. There's ways to prevent it. I think we can come up with some solutions on that. The Knicks only shot 40% from the floor. You would think that I tried to smile. You would think that that's okay, but they were 46% from 3. 40% from the floor, 46% from 3. Many encouraging things for the Sixers coming out of that Game 1. We'll go over them. Many discouraging things coming out of that Game 1. We will go over them too. Outscored by 21 points in the 11 minutes and 27 seconds that Joel Embiid did not play. I'll say that again. Outscored by 21 points in 11 and a half minutes without Joel Embiid. That can't happen. The Joel Embiid injury, obviously, it's going to be the number one thing we talk about this morning, how it'll affect, where is he, what do you think? But there was a quote, and if you're looking for some optimism, here is the quote that Nick Batum gave after yesterday's, I guess probably a film session. They may have put the sneakers on a little bit. But Nick Batum said, "We know what we did wrong, and we found a way this morning to do something special with us. I won't tell you what." So Nick Nurse has the mind is moving. Sounds like he's got something. I read a story today that said a couple of years ago, out of nowhere, he came up with a box and one defense in a playoff game. I don't remember it. That worked well for him. So his mind is moving. They did a really good job on Jalen Brunson. It was funny. It's something that we talked about on the pregame show on Saturday. I said that the way that I would go would be with like a 6'7", 6'8" defender and look to smother. And they did that well. But ultimately, the Knicks won Game 1. Your Philadelphia Phillies, Amy, you're going to love this number.
I love it.
Starters over the last 6 games for the Philly, ERA, .81.
Woo-wee.
Yeah, that's not too bad. So they win again yesterday, get their 6th straight win over a god-awful Chicago White
Honestly,
Sox team.
Maybe the worst baseball team I've ever seen.
They might be historically bad when this season is over, yeah.
Who came in to pitch the 9th inning?
Well, of course it's in my notes here. Junior Marte. If he doesn't seal the MVP by the All-Star break, I'd be shocked. But he comes in and gives you not a great inning, but he was yawning through it. No big deal. He's so good he could have thrown left-handed and gotten the save. Trey Turner had a really good homestand. He's up to 348 on the season. 5 stolen bases for your Phillies yesterday, so nice and aggressive on the base paths. Johan Rojas, 2 for 4. He's up to 264. Ray is very excited about that as he wears his Johan Rojas jersey to bed. Alec Boehm, 3 hits yesterday. As I said, they've now won 6 in a row. They're 14-8. Only 1 game behind the Braves, who lost yesterday. Braves have 2 games, or the Phillies have 2 games in hand. Tonight in Cincinnati, 6:40, Ranger Suarez. Who? Ranger Suarez. That's a guy that's 3-0 with a 1.73 ERA. Might be, to me, the most fun pitcher to watch on the Phillies. Wheeler's dominant. Nola is what he is. You know, yesterday was typical. 2-run home run in the first inning, settles down, pitches a really good game. Wheeler is just dominantly fun to watch. But I don't know, Ranger Suarez, I just like, he makes me smile. Let's put it that way. He makes me smile. Eagles, some news that they may be looking to move up from number 22. Is that really news? Or is that just, yeah, we know that because that's Howie Roseman. Anyway, that's Thursday's draft, 8 o'clock Thursday. Their pick. Now, you know the Sixers will be home on Thursday playing at 7:30. So a lot of people are like, how am I going to handle it? You'll be fine. The way Ray and I figured out, the Eagles pick won't come until somewhere between 11 and 11:30.
There you go.
Yeah, so you might even be able to go to the Sixers game and get home in time
To watch.
pending, getting out of their traffic. On the national front, this is pretty wild. I told this to Amy earlier, and it even raised an eyebrow on her. All the higher seeds won in the NBA this weekend. 8-0. They won by an average of 13.3 points a game. In the NHL, all 6 favored home teams won. Home and
Impressive.
kind of surprising. Nelly Corda, I don't care if you follow golf or not, if you're a sports fan. She won her 5th tournament in a row, tying a record with 2 of the immortals, Nancy Lopez and Annika Sorenstam. Amazing. I watched the end of that tournament just to see dominance, and it's pretty cool to watch dominance in sports. I don't care what the sport is. If you also want dominance, if you want to move over to the men's, to the PGA Tour, Scotty Scheffler has a 5-stroke lead when they had to stop it yesterday with 3 holes to play.
Incredible.
Just won the Masters, going to win this one. He's on a Tiger-ish run this year. And look, dominance is something in sports that I love to watch. Well, those are 2 that are dominating their game right now. So there it is. There's your front page news, stories, teases, however you want to label it. But Aim, your thoughts on the weekend altogether? Let's include a little everything, not just Sixers, everything.
Everything. Great stuff from the Phillies. I think the caveat is that it's the White Sox, and that honestly, Saturday was a little bit dicey. Let's be honest. It was 9-0, and we come up from the post game show. And I was like, it's 9-5. I'm sorry, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? I guess sometimes
Pinto didn't look all that
did
well.
not look how well he did in this first time we saw him. But listen, sometimes when you're playing a team that is I don't know, lackluster as the White Sox, sometimes you can have a lull there.
Sure.
And I think that's maybe what happened. I thought overall that's what you wanted to see. The bats woke up. You saw Castellanos with a triple on Saturday. You saw good stuff, obviously, on Sunday. Bryce Harper doing Bryce Harper things for the Fanatics' birthday. Always enjoyable, getting him a new glove. And the Sixers, was I surprised that it was so one-sided when you're looking at the second chance points, fast break points, and the offensive rebounds? Maybe surprised that all 3 of them went the Knicks' way. 1 or 2 of those, I would thought that's how they are built. They're built for those offensive rebounds. They're the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the league. Sixers are, 25th? Out of 30 in defensive rebounding, so I knew that was going to go. The fast break was maybe disappointing too, but those go hand in hand.
Yeah, it was a lot of things went on in that game, and I told Ray, it was about 8:45 last night, and I'm sitting home, and I just didn't feel like watching whatever sporting events were on then. I don't know what I just got done watching. And it's 8:45. I'm like, should I do it? Should I do it? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Click. I did it. I watched the Sixers game all over again.
Now that's why your thumbs down
notes.
today.
All right, I didn't want to. Let's say I'm thumb sideways.
Thumb sideways. Okay.
Let's go
All right.
sideways.
All
Like
right.
Saturday, we did the pregame show, and Tyrone said, "I got 108, 101. Sixers going to win." And I said, "Oh, that's similar to the score that I had, but my score is 105, 101." He goes, "Oh, so you have the Sixers winning?" And I said, "My score is 105."
Oh,
I
no.
didn't feel good Saturday about that game, but they did a lot of things well. But let's start with the biggest story of all, and that has to be Joel Embiid and going down the way he did and all. I'll give you an example. So when he tweaked his knee in the regular season,
Magic game.
that's what it was. One of my buddies' sons, who I'm very good friends with, texted me. He goes, "Bob, I can't breathe. I'm holding my breath. I literally can't breathe." And I said, "Dude, don't worry about it. He's king of drama. He'll be fine." And Embiid comes back, and he's like, "Oh, thank God." Saturday happens. He texts me right away, and he goes, "I don't feel as bad as I did before." Is this all drama? I said, "It's not all drama.
No.
Not all drama." But I got to tell you, Aim, and this is just a side note, and we'll get this out of the way to get to the real stuff. That's not us. Like,
No.
that's
It
my
was tough.
friend. The people I played with never acted that way. The growing up, the people we played against, rarely did you see it. It was just like, dude, get up. What are you doing? And I'm not putting him down for this, but I watch it over and over again. And okay, he came down on the leg. I've never seen someone twirl around, raise the hands in the air, go down on the ground, swing your legs over your head. It makes me feel better that it's not that bad for some stupid reason in my mind. I can't deal with that.
Don't you think when they zoomed in on his face, I think he was having like flashbacks of like, no, not again. I think a lot of it is mental as far as.
Is that why only one of the eyes was blinking when he
that
was
was
laying on the
terrifying. I
floor?
was like, he looks like he has seen a ghost. This is not good. I do not feel good about this. And I felt fine when the Magic injury happened. I thought, all right, we're a minute before halftime. He's going to go in. That's fine. I had no doubt he was going to come back in that one. I had doubt in the first game at the Garden. I thought for sure. I was like, that's it. He's just, even if he's able to come back, it's not going to be good. And I think you saw how he was patrolling. He wasn't going anywhere near the paint and everything like that. We can dissect that. But I think overall he had the mental aspect of like, oh no. I think it's in his head, and as it should be. It's a medically and surgically repaired knee. Every time he comes down 285 or whatever pass, he kind of got squished in the defenders, and I think he landed awkwardly, but he always lands awkwardly. That's your point.
That's teachable. I've been saying this for years, since I was covering the team. I honestly think that's teachable.
Well, they've tried over the years to teach him and other players how to fall, and that's why they say that they want him to fall, because they think it'll lessen the impact of the size of him. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
He lands flat-footed way too much.
Yeah, the flat-footedness was
We
bad.
used to do a drill in high school. It was called 10, 10, and 10, where you would jump right hand, left hand, both hands as high as you could. You know, if you're a bigger guy, you're hitting the rim every time. If you're a smaller guy like me, it was the backboard, you know, all that stuff. But it was endurance thing, but it was also to teach you how to land when you jumped your highest. I think he still lands flat-footed. If you look at that play,
That was flat-footed.
and the knee buckles and all that. But, all right, getting away from that. So that happens. Then comes Paul Reed's walking out onto the court for the second half, and here comes Joe from the locker room. And I'm not making fun. I'm looking at this as all part of all right, where is he? Where literally is he? So he runs onto the floor. I'm playing, boom, warm-ups off and all that, puts whatever stuff he puts in his mouth to get ready to go. Boom, he's going. So last night, I specifically watched him almost the whole second half, Aim, when he was in. Not even thinking, he's making cuts on that knee. He's doing things with that knee off of the dribble that you're saying, wait a minute. This guy was just laying on the floor with hands in the air, blinking with one eye and not with the other, and doing that stuff. And you know, you thought he wasn't going to play ever again. He's making now. So part of me says he has to be really tough that he's going through this and doing this. Another part of me is he thinking too much? I mean, if you're not thinking and you're making cuts with the basketball on that left knee.
I think he is thinking a lot. I don't know if it's too much, but I think he is thinking a lot. I think every time he jumps, he thinks about it. I think every time he drives, he thinks about it. Here's a guy on that injury, he dunked. A monster he passed it to himself. You can count how many times dunks in a season. He's not a dunker.
Exactly.
That's not what he does.
Exactly.
19, 20 dunks a year?
Right.
And that was maybe, to me, I was like, I get it. You want to get like some jazz, like let's go. Let's get like the crowd out of it. Let's get the momentum on our side with this Thunder monster jam.
Right.
Just do your normal stuff. I don't need extra flourish. I don't need that right now.
And it's funny. We don't want to take. And look,
I get it. It was awesome. It was
Right.
thunderous dunk. But then the payoff was he goes down.
So my point being, what I'm trying to say is, this isn't he's a baby segment here. What I'm saying is, and I think it made me feel better, and maybe it'll make you feel better. I don't think it's as bad as he made it look, and I don't think he thinks it's as bad, because there was a couple times in the second half he grabbed rebounds, and I'm like, okay, you're hurting.
Right.
Your knee is hurting. You grab a rebound, give the ball off to your guard, get down the floor, set up the offense that way.
Right.
No, dribble down by himself.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
if
was
that's
a little
the
bit
case,
because then he didn't. You wanted, and we're watching the game all together with Jim and Mark Jackson, and Mark and Jim are coaches just yelling roll. They're just yelling roll.
Right, exactly.
Just roll. And he didn't do that. That was a little frustrating. I think the only time he rolled was maybe like with 2 minutes to go in the second half. So you're thinking, is it mentally? Is it both? Obviously there must be some discomfort. I think he adjusts that. The brace, I think, is bigger than what it was when he first came back. I think that's another thing. He has to fiddle with that. It's kind of like when he had the mask. It's just always going to be a little something going on with him. And I think mentally that carries over to he just needs to not think about it. Easier said than done, but I think he's thinking about it too much.
now they showed they did the Kurt Schilling thing. There was a little blood on the
there's a little blood
on the stocking or whatever. Look, many of us have worn braces. Amy, I'm sure you have too. Sometimes they irritate your skin, and sometimes it'll just crack it open. I mean, that's it. That's just part of what that is. I don't think that was anything really major. Keith Pompey, who's going to join us today at 12 o'clock, asked Nick Nurse the question yesterday because Joel Embiid in the locker room after the game was wearing sunglasses. And then if you could have seen the look Amy just gave me, that's why I'm laughing. And then yesterday morning, apparently, when they went to get on a team bus, I guess Keith was at the hotel, he had those same sunglasses on. So Keith asked Nick Nurse, because Embiid was playing with his face, apparently.
Well, he did take something in his eye. I think at one point you could see him grabbing it.
Oh, yeah, you could see him grabbing it for the rest of the night. So Keith did ask, was there an orbital bone problem, because that's what happened before. And Nick Nurse was like, no, there's nothing there. We're going to play some Nick Nurse cuts. I kind of got the feeling that he's getting a little tired of and again,
tired's maybe too strong. Just generally all right, let's just move on. Let's just kind of keep it moving. I think he gives a keep it moving vibe.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Enough
with this.
I'm not playing, Tommy Tough Nuts here. Rub some dirt on it and let's go.
Let's just
if you
keep
can't
going.
play, don't play.
Yeah.
But if you can play, please get
He's
in there
old school
and play.
in that regard. As much as Nick Nurse is new school with the some analytics,
Right.
and obviously the way he's able to change things. You mentioned the boxing one. I looked over at you I'm sorry, I don't remember that game, but I'd love to see tape of that.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
I just read that this weekend.
I want to go find whatever playoff game that was. But I think he's also old school in the fact that, he demands a lot from his team. He demands a lot from his players. That's why Kyle Lowry responds so well. That's his type of guy. But yeah, I think that he's a keep it moving type of guy. All right, you good? Let's go.
Let's go.
Hustle up.
Yeah, if you have the uniform on, get out
Hustle
there and
up.
play, please.
Hustle up.
So anyway, that's and look, that was a read into how bad this injury might be. It was not a bash of Joel Embiid. As all of you know, I've said on these airwaves, I want to ride the career out here. I'm done with the look to trade him kind of stuff. Ride out the career. He is a wonderfully gifted basketball player. Annoying with all the injuries, absolutely. Somebody had on our YouTube a really good question, Aim. I'm sorry, Doctor, I think his name. Anyway, he said, could it be that his skill set is just not made for his body?
No, that's actually really could be. Just because his body is he's so large, he's so big, and the way that he wants to play, maybe it doesn't match that. Maybe but also there's a guy that just started playing basketball when he was 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
It's not like he grew up in the game, and so he's had to learn a lot more on the fly in a much more compact time. His skill set is he's so gifted. He's so talented. You do wonder if maybe his body's still trying to catch up with that.
I totally agree with that. It's funny. There's one thing about working with you that bothers me.
Oh, this is not good.
It's that I never look at the clock when we're talking because we're just talking.
That's true.
And then it pops into my head, or Ray has to scream into my ear, yo, dope, you got a break.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
Sorry,
no,
sorry.
don't be sorry. That's me. I
good
just I
times.
love talking hoops
Good
with you.
times.
Yeah. So we have a lot more to look at. Obviously, the 55 to 33 rebounding advantage of the New York Knicks. Is that fixable? Nick Nurse talked about that. I have some feelings on it. My feelings, because of what I'm going to tell you, is almost like, well, you kind of have to live with some of it for this, and I'll explain why. I want to tell you also the 10 o'clock hour, it's brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. When we get back, a whole lot more on your Philadelphia 76ers as they take on the New York Knicks. Game 2 tonight up in Madison Square Garden. With Amy Fadul, Bob Cooney here, middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic.
Sixers and Knicks, game 2 tonight. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The 76ers are looking to split the first 2 games up in New York City against the Knicks tonight. They fell 111-104 in game 1 in a back-and-forth matchup. One of the biggest differences in that one, the Knicks' activity on the boards. They pulled down 23 offensive boards, out-rebounding the 76ers by 22 rebounds. Nick Nurse talked about that postgame.
And we didn't but tonight, right? Now I got to go find out why and what all the problems were. I'm sure they'll
Start to look for the
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Batalico, and Jen Scordo. Right now, it's Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic, and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Welcome back, or thanks for joining us, whatever it may be, on what started out as a beautiful Monday morning. Driving in today, another one of those, not a cloud in the sky. Could see all the bricks on the buildings. Ray, should I do a PSA for the boys out here that are playing kickball and stuff? Weren't we warned about that the other day?
Oh, come on, guys. No ball around the new TV.
Mom said no playing ball in the house, boys. You don't know what show's that from. That's from
professionalism.
Mom always said, don't play ball in the house.
I do not know what show
From
that's
the Brady Bunch from a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a little before my time there.
You were not. Oh, yeah, whatever. Anyway.
We are well apart.
Stop it. That'll be enough. Okay. New York Knicks. Let's break it down this way, Eamon. I'll start with it. Let's start with the positives of the Philadelphia 76ers. I'll give a couple of mine. You give me a couple of yours. We'll wind them all together and see if it's something that can carry forward. I think I'll start with this one, which is kind of off. I think Joel Embiid is going to be more healthy than we think. I think he's going to be. Tonight is a night that we notice all that much. I don't think we're going to see, oh, God, he's laboring. Oh, my God, he can't do this. He's not getting back on defense. I don't think tonight is that night. Now, we just got some bad news.
Yeah, you're going to need Embiid as healthy as possible.
Did you read it? Did you read the – I didn't read the tweet.
I read the tweet, yeah.
Okay, all right. So a tweet has just come out from – who was it, Pompey?
Keith Pompey, yeah. Chris Haynes, everybody's firing away at this one. Philadelphia 76ers guard Tyrese Maxey is questionable tonight with an illness.
Yeah, per team official.
All right.
Yeah, I know. Talk about taking the air out of the balloon. That was my positive. Tyrese Maxey, 33 points.
Yeah, that was positive.
Yeah.
Him being able to get to the basket. Look, everybody has played sick before. And that first thing comes to mind, Michael Jordan. Sometimes you can play as good when you're sick because your concentration level might be a little higher and all that.
Super focused.
Yeah, super focused. Hopefully he's sitting getting some IV or whatever today to get himself better, but that's a real kick in the groin. But we can't do anything about that. So we're just going to go on the assumption that he's playing. So he was really good the other night. Mm-hmm. He got where he wanted to go almost all night long. His jump shot, he missed a few. The whole team missed a few jumpers. That's a good sign to me. You were open. You had open shots. Joel Embiid shot 2 for 11 in the second half and had some open threes. Can Tobias Harris be that quiet again? I think you'll get a little bit more out of him. You have to get among Tobias Harris, Kyle Oubre, Kelly Oubre, and what's his face? Why am I drawing a blank here? Buddy Hield. And Nico Batum. Yep. You got it. You're going to get more out of those guys moving forward. So that, to me, that's a positive. So there are plenty of positives. And Aim, you probably have some more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that the one thing you mentioned, and I know you're going to talk about it more, the rebounding is such a glaring thing. But that is what the Knicks do. So you almost have to kind of throw that out. You need to work on the other aspects. I don't think they're going to get worked again the way that they did. I think it's going to be much more of a concerted team effort to really crash those boards. 42% of the misses for the Knicks, they got their own rebound and made a make. Like, that's incredible. And the second chance scoring. But the fast break points, when you see how disparity, like there was such a big disparity between the two, and then you saw how Maxey played, you wondered, what in the world? How is that possible? With he's the one leading the way. I thought the second half they stepped that up a big deal. Kelly Oubre being a lot more aggressive with the steals. And I think Kyle Lowry was a real positive for me, especially in the crux of the game. It's Maxey and Lowry really took that game over. It looked like they were done for. They're down 12 points, and those guys single-handedly got them right back in it. That was a real positive for me.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry goes like 38, 39 minutes. I heard the morning show talking about, is that good for the rest of the series? I don't give a rat's ass about the rest of the series. You got to win. You have to win every game that you're playing. If that means playing Kyle Lowry 48 minutes every damn game and he has nothing for the next round, I don't care. Because if you're playing him that much, you needed him that much, that's just what it is. I think you have to get more out of your bench, obviously. It was funny, Aim. I went back and like I told you, I watched the game again last night. First possession, you lose the tap. They come down. They miss a three, a tap out. A tap out goes to Josh Hart, or a tap out goes out, and then Josh Hart ends up with it. Boom, bangs a three. It was kind of like, wow, when you know the ending and you see the first play of the game, you're like, oh, there's a little microcosm of what this game's about.
Well, and think about that. Another positive. Josh Hart, 31% three-point shooter. 4 for 8. That's not going to. You can't
First
imagine.
time he's made 4 in a game this year.
You can't imagine that's going to happen again. Obviously, guys go on a heater. You see that all the time. But the sustaining ability of those players, they're like role players, to have those kind of games again, it just is not realistic for a 7-game series. It's also probably not realistic for Jalen Brunson to be that quiet. But I thought defensively, that was another real positive for me. They did a nice job on Jalen Brunson, and a lot of that is Kelly Oubre.
Now, I teased after the last segment into this one something about that. And the rebounding disparity is something you can't have. Not that bad.
No.
There were times, I wrote it in my notes. There was one time there was a jump ball at the Sixers' end. I think it was Paul Reed. It was the play where he tied up, what's-his-face, in the lane, and they called a jump ball. Paul Reed.
Mitchell Robinson.
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
Mitchell Robinson.
So Reed goes up, wins the tap, taps it towards the Knicks bench. You have Tobias Harris and Kyle Lowry. Kyle was further away. Kind of look at each other and look at the ball, and then look like, oh, it's our ball, right? My God, the first thing I was ever taught as a kid playing basketball was, when you're not sure, grab the ball.
Yeah.
Grab the ball. They let it go out of bounds. Boom, Knicks ball. 3-pointer right after that. Like, you can't have those things happen. But what I'll say real quick, Game, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good.
I think one of the reasons, a slight reason for the rebounding disparity is putting big men on Jalen Brunson. And it's funny, it's what I asked for yesterday when we did pregame, or Saturday rather. I said I would love to see that. I'd rather go with the smother.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not all that quick, Jalen Brunson, he's quick.
Crafty.
He's crafty. And they did a great job of putting a big man on him. But if you notice, too, with that left-handed shot that he shoots and the way he shoots it, they must have been told, if he beats you, you're still okay. You can come from behind and get a piece of the ball, because they did it numerous times. But with a big man, whether it was Oubre, Batum, Harris, whoever, covering Jalen Brunson, a lot of times they're not going to be in position to rebound. And I thought that was one of the ways. And a lot of times, Aim, just looking at the ball. Now, Joel Embiid does this a lot. He'll look at it instead of going after it. And that can't happen. You have to, in my opinion, a shot's up, you don't look at the ball.
Yeah, rebounding's
Go find your guy and get a body on him. And then your secondary thing is find the ball. Because if you have your guy and he's boxed and they go for the ball over you, it's going to be a foul on them. Sometimes you have to kiss it. Keep it simple, stupid. And you know, box it out. Yeah, it's an effort thing, of course. But they can do better, I think, off of that.
And it's a group thing. Like, you can't just have one or two guys be like, okay, well, we're going to focus on the rebounding, because that's what the Knicks do. This is what the Knicks are. Someone asked me yesterday when I was at the game, do you think it's personnel or scheme related that the Knicks are so good at offensive rebounding? And I said, well, the answer is obviously both, but I think it's scheme. The personnel comes with it, but it's scheme. That is exactly what Tom Thibodeau does. It is all about offensive rebounding, and they have a perfect guy in it in Josh Hart. Perfect guy. 31 double-doubles for a guy 6'4".
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen in the league. The next is like 7 from a guy like Tyrese Halliburton or whatever. It just, you don't see somebody so in tune with rebounding as you do at everybody on the Knicks team. And so for the Sixers, they do just watch the ball because they're just waiting for it to go one of their teammates, instead of like this crowding, like gang of tackle type of thing. Like, all right, let's go. Like, everybody has to be in on it. And you didn't see that at all at any point in that game.
So with the Tom Thibodeau team, you're often thinking of tough. We
Right.
talked about those words, grimy and all. If you can be smart and tough. Like, I always looked at my kids and I said, I want them to be both street smart and book smart.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you get one of them. Great if you get two. You don't want to have neither. In a basketball player, I was thinking of this weekend, they have the smarts. Those Villanova guys are smart basketball players, and that's a tribute to Jay Wright and the system and everything, buying in and believing of all the smartness that is Villanova basketball. Now you add that to the toughness of a Tom Thibodeau, you have a really good mixture there. And that's what kind of scares me about this New York Knicks team. I texted somebody in the league last night, and I said, or it might have been this morning, and I said, is it possible that the Knicks are a better team? And I put that in capital letters. And he said, no, I don't think so. I think the Sixers have the more talent. I said, I understand that. But are they the better team? And he was like, oh, I haven't looked at it that way, but I see what you're saying.
They're built that way. Jalen
They
Brunson
are.
is perfect for that system. He's perfect for Thibodeau because he's a smart basketball player. He's been raised on this. He plays extremely tough. Doesn't make mistakes. You were just talking about the rebounding, and you saw Tobias Harris and Kyle Lowry kind of like, oh, where's it going to – Josh Hart got burned a little bit on 2 of those plays. but he also makes it pay. Here's a guy that's always going for the rebound. And, yeah, maybe he does lose the ball. You kind of take that with what it is. But the combination of the toughness and the lack of mental mistakes that they make, I think, is really imperative because the Sixers, they make so many of those. So many of those mental errors, just sometimes by not doing anything, error in and of itself, by not going. And then aside from obviously the turnovers and other stuff that they do, but they can shoot. Obviously, they got on a hot night. I don't think you're going to have some of those guys shoot. We didn't even talk about Deuce McBride. I mean, that's ridiculous. He's a guy that people are Googling him during the game. And then all of a sudden, you have that kind of firepower coming together on a night where they don't make any mistakes and then obviously play as tough and physical as they do. It's a bad combination.
McBride and Bogdanovich go for 8 for 13 from 3. And I said I think I was texting with one of my sons during the game when Bogdanovich hit the bank three-pointer, and it was like he said to me,
shots
"Are you
like that,
kidding
you're like,
me?"
Yeah, exactly.
Those are things that happen for home teams in a playoff or lucky teams in a playoff. So is that good news, Aim?
Yeah.
Is it good news that you had McBride and Bogdanovich go 8 for 13 from 3? Can you pretty safely say, well, that's not going to happen again?
I would think so. And we talked about it. I mean, McBride was, and it was really our first half. I think he cooled off naturally in the second half, but he still was effective. You can't imagine that happening again. But the thing is, you can't prepare for that. You can't prepare that the metrics are going to go in your favor, average out in one game. You can't prepare for that. Do you think it's going to happen? Yeah, you think so. But, Lord, you can't, sit there and be like, all right, well, that guy's not going to keep hitting. He probably will if you leave him open.
It's funny. You just brought up smart basketball. I brought it up, and you agreed with me. I have in my notes smart basketball. Knicks know it. Do the Sixers? Mm-hmm. I'm not calling the Sixers a dumb team at all. I think Nick Nurse is too good of a coach to put a dumb team out on the floor. But you do see mental lapses more than I think we should, right? I mean,
yeah,
you see bad passes like Tobias Harris got a rebound and tried to throw an outlet to God knows where.
I don't know where that was going.
When you don't need it, and boom, interception by the Knicks.
Just bring the ball up calmly, find your point guard, run the offense.
Yeah, and look, I'm not saying on a basketball court that it's not all happening right in front of you and you think you see something and boom, it doesn't happen. But that was kind of egregious.
Yeah.
Other times when you see, Sixers might have a good ball movement and somebody's open on a wing and you pass them the ball and they're stepping out of bounds when they're about to line up for a shot. Like, that can't happen. Joel Embiid grabbing rebounds and kind of looking disinterested of holding the ball and giving it away lazily. Those type of things just can't happen. They are so much bigger in playoff basketball than they are in normal basketball.
And that's the thing. Everything's blown up. All the microcosm stuff become macro, right? Everything becomes so much bigger because of the stakes. It's win or go home. Obviously not one game, but over a series. And Kyle Lowry's the first to say it after the game. He's like, listen, it's one game. Here's a guy who knows 130 playoff games. That's incredible. That's a lifetime of playoff games. He knows what it takes. But at the same time, you need to have everybody in that well-oiled machine. And I thought you saw the first cracks of it in the Heat game, the play-in game. And you thought, oh, well, maybe it was just the zone or whatever. Or maybe this team is still kind of figuring itself out. They haven't played a lot of games together. There's still a lot of tentativeness. And I think you saw that in the Heat game. And I thought maybe it was just because it was the Heat. And now you see it again in the Knicks game. You're thinking, that if I'm Nick Nurse, that's a pattern that I don't want to see continue.
Yeah, we're going to break down the Sixers player by player because we'll talk about what they did, what to expect moving forward, or maybe that's not going to happen again as far as Sixers players go. I didn't see that as much on the Sixers as I feel it with the Knicks. So we'll talk about that a whole lot more. Amy Fadul's joining us today. This is Middays. Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The real and inside story on the Phillies is on the best show ever. Ricky Bottalico brings his insight and perspective afternoons 2 to 6.
It's hard to do what he's doing. In my opinion, he's not seeing the ball out of the hand. He can't be.
Plus, Jason Stark is on Talking Baseball.
He's made up his mind to swing before the pitch is thrown, and he's going to swing no matter where it ends up. He's just his own.
I think it's still a beautiful Monday out there. It was when I drove in early this morning.
I tried to peek through the window.
Did you see anything?
Still sunny.
You see sunlight out there, Amy?
It looks partly cloudy, maybe.
Partly cloudy with a chance of meatball. No, what's that show? Do your kids watch?
No.
We were switching around the channels the other day, and there was something partly cloudy with a chance of meatballs or something like that. Yeah, something silly.
All right, that sounds fun.
I don't watch it. Ray, stop looking at me like I'm ridiculous. You're just an idiot. Okay.
That movie came out like 15 years ago.
It's a movie, or is it? It looks like it's a series now because it was on like every half hour.
It might be.
Is there a series now?
Yeah, sometimes movies turn into series.
Based on a book,
I didn't think that was a movie that deserved a series, so I'll be honest.
It doesn't sound like it at all.
How many times is the weather going to bring meatballs?
Yeah, I haven't read a kid's book in so long. Like, Andrew was talking to me on the break, and I said some weird word, and he goes, "You know what? I say that word almost every day." I said, "Why?" I did. Yes, very good. He said because it's in one of the books that he reads to little Cooper. I miss reading books to kids, Aim.
All right, you can come over and have story time with us anytime.
Not that much.
Okay.
All right. So we were talking about the rebounding advantage, disadvantage for the Sixers on Saturday. It's different. It's something you have to concentrate on. You can't start your offense till you get the ball, Aim. And you don't want it to always be in when the other team puts it through the basket and you're taking it out of bounds. So I don't think it's going to take anything away from your offense to concentrate more on going after the basketball. You have size. You have athletic ability. Tyrese Maxey should have a nose for the ball and know where to go. It can't be him standing flat-footed. Tyrese, if you're not rebounding, I'm not expecting you to get 8 to 10. If you're not rebounding, go find somebody, make sure they don't rebound either. It's got to be a case of that. But this is what Nick Nurse had to say about the rebounding disadvantage his team had on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta look at it. I think everybody say, well, geez, block out. But again, it's probably a little. I just gotta come up with a plan for them. We gotta look at it, and I mean, obviously we talked about it a lot. It's a key thing that they do, and we do a very good job of it tonight. Right now, I gotta go find out why and what all the problems were. I'm sure the list is long. I'm sure there's a lot of things that isn't going to be just block out. Maybe it is. I could be wrong, but I think there's probably more than that. Yep.
The sound of his voice after Saturday's game, you're smiling at that. What did you think? You guys did it on the post-game show. You listened to him. That
sounded like a guy that was frustrated and tired of watching some of the same mistakes over and over again.
Okay, good.
That's what I got. Not an exasperation. I don't think we're at that level, but it was just like, really? Like, we talked about this, guys. We knew, because you heard him say, like, that's what they do. They knew that that's what the Knicks did.
Right.
And so he's like, I know it's not as simple as boxing out, but clearly it was covered. And yet here we are at 23-8 offensive rebound disparity. I mean, they did 23-8.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
23 is also like 2 games worth for a good offensive rebounding team.
Right, exactly. So I said I wanted to break down some of the Sixers and how they played on Saturday. When you look at a series, I think we can go down the Knicks roster and say a lot of times, yeah, that probably isn't going to happen again, both good and bad.
Right.
Let's see where we are with the 76ers. I'll start with Tobias Harris. It was the end of the first quarter, Amy, where I literally last night, I put my pen down. This was watching it the second time, and I was mad at myself that I didn't say on Saturday watching it live, he's just not going to be there tonight. And this is what happened. It's the end of the first quarter. There's about 7 seconds to go, and the Knicks are inbounding the ball full court. Okay, Sixers had just scored. Full court press. Do the job you want to do. You're not necessarily there looking to get a steal and a score. You're looking to keep preventing the team, give them something to think about before they bring the ball up court and try to score with 7 seconds to go. They inbounds the ball. He comes from behind and tries to make a steal and commits a foul to put the Knicks at the foul line with 7 seconds to go in the quarter.
Like, that's the most important thing. Your defense is like a show defense at that point. We're just showing you that we're here. We're going to go to try to make sure we just disrupt you just a little bit before you get into your offensive set. It's 7 seconds to go before the halftime. We just don't want to get like an easy bucket. That's all your defense is there to do. You don't need to do any razzle-dazzle. Like, what are we doing here?
Keep the ball in front of you. You've done what you're supposed to do. You made them think why he does that. And I believe that was his second foul.
It was.
With 7.2 seconds to go, the Knicks go down. They get foul shots. Tobias Harris, a lot of people looking, oh, my, and I brought it up this morning. He took a 3 that went over the basket and hit the side of the backboard. Like,
we were talking,
bad.
When he hit that first 3, we thought, okay, Tyrese Maxey drove, found him over there in the corner, hits the 3. You're thinking, good. He didn't score again. That was early on in the game. He didn't score again. Game time, for an hour and 25 minutes in real time. I mean,
Right.
in real time, an hour. It was 8:30 when his next bucket came.
So, needless to say, you need more from him.
Yeah.
Can you get more from him?
I mean, that's semantics.
Is that the worst he can play?
Can you? Yes. Will you? Those are two different words.
I hear you.
So, I mean, yeah, you can get more from him. I think he knows that. I think you have to. You mentioned it before. A decisive Tobias is the best Tobias. That's what you need. Decisive. Aggressive, I think, is a word we used to use. I don't know if I'm ever going to get an aggressive Tobias. That's just not his style of play. But give me some decisiveness. And I'm sure that's something they've worked on repeatedly. You get the ball, don't think, shoot it. Let's just go. Like keep it moving.
I would have loved to have had a coach like that. Don't
Keep it
think,
moving.
just shoot.
Just shoot.
Yeah.
Just shoot.
Joel Embiid goes 8 for 22 from the floor aim, 11 of 12 from the foul line, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. We know a couple of steals, 29 points. He was a plus 14 when he was in the game. All of that. I didn't have a problem with his game.
A little bit tentative when he came out in the second half. You saw the 2 of 11. Also, I think that they, did a better job between Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson.
I heard 3 different pronunciations of his name before the game started on Saturday.
That's what the Knicks call him.
Right. So I heard Hartenstein.
That's what
I heard Hartenstein. And Tom McGinnis went with Hartenstein, I think, for a little bit there. Well, he might have corrected himself, but I did hear 3 different pronunciations at one point.
On their board, they go with
that
Stein.
man. Yes, they do.
Listen, Harten, whatever. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Joel Embiid, I'm fine with on Saturday. Kind of what I expect. Maybe the shooting is a little bit better than 8 for 22.
I think so.
Going down the road. Okay, Kyle Lowry.
Great.
No problems.
Yeah.
Great. And do I expect that? Sure.
Yeah, and that's the
I'm
thing.
not going to say he's going to go for 14 every game and shoot as well as he
But
did.
my
4
expectations are 38 to 39 minutes. I'm with you. Wheels fall off. I think Kyle's probably with you on that. Obviously, he knows his body. He's going to try to, recover in ways that are going to make him available for those 38 to 39 minutes. This is a guy who's been around the block when it comes to playoffs. Nick Nurse and he know each other. But, yeah, I don't think if you go to Kyle Lowry and be like, hey, we're going to need 39 minutes from you, I don't think he's going to be like, nope. Like, of course, I think he's all in. So, yeah, I'm in. Wheels fall off.
All right, we're going to continue this when we get back. We're going to go down the Sixers roster. Can you expect more of what you got Saturday from individual players? Is it about what you expected? And then we'll shift it over to the New York Knicks, and we'll break down what they did. And there might be some positive out of the positive that they had on Saturday night. I'll explain all that. Amy understands what I mean.
I do.
Amy Fadul's here with us today. Bob Cooney, middays, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers try and even it up. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by
Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Some concerning news, as we told you in the 10 o'clock hour. Tyrese Maxey has been listed as questionable tonight, as he is down with sickness. We have since learned, and we will have Keith Pompey on with us at 12 o'clock. We have since learned that he was not at shoot-around this morning. I don't know where they would do shoot-around. Sometimes they'll move all around.
Sometimes colleges,
sometimes colleges, high schools, sometimes a hotel up in Boston. There was a gym in the hotel that the Sixers stayed in the bottom of the hotel, yeah. So they would do their shoot-arounds there. So Tyrese Maxey was not there today. Looking as good as he looked yesterday or the day before in interviews and all. We all know flu, whatever, that can hit you hard. But they also have, and I'm talking legal, medical marvels. He can get fluids all day long. He can, whatever's going on with him, they can be on top of it right away.
It's questionable. Obviously, he's not feeling well. He wasn't at shoot-around. You have to have a reason, legally, through the CBA and all that stuff, why a person's not at shoot-around. So you had to list him as questionable, I imagine. And I'm sure he's getting as much treatment. This guy wants to play. I think he proved that he's up for the task. He has a playoff legacy that he wants to start to build, and this is going to start now.
Why can't we have nice things,
we can't,
Amy?
We can't have. We could have like one nice thing, and it was 5 years ago.
Just why? Okay, let's go down the list now. We were talking 76ers, and we're talking about the games that they had the other night. Is it something that's sustainable? Were you okay with the way that they played? So far, we need more out of Tobias Harris. Everybody knows that. Joel Embiid, fine with what he did. Hopefully he can bring that again tonight. Maybe shoots a little bit better. After rewatching the game last night, specifically that second half, keeping an eye on how he was treating that left knee, I think he's okay. I think he's good to go. Is he 100%? Of course not, no. But he had 29 points, 8 rebounds, assists on a knee that looked like it got shot by a sniper, according to him, in that second quarter there. So he came back, and I think he's going to be just fine. Kyle Lowry, we said, was great. Can we expect that? We can hope to. Maybe not to that end, but I think Kyle Lowry is always going to be on the positive side of everything when he's out there, so that's fine. All right, let's get to that Tyrese Maxey. 14 for 25 for 26 from the floor, 3 for 9 from 3. He had you 33 points, 2 rebounds. You're going to have to pick that up. 4 assists, a couple of 3 turnovers. I can live with his turnovers with how much he handles the ball. But from Tyrese Maxey, is that probably the best you're going to get out of him, Aim? Was that an outlier, or is that just what you expect him to do?
That's my expectation for him.
Okay.
My expectation for him are those shooting numbers. Maybe, about that from 3. Rebounding, maybe a few more. I think more assists, but I think that has a lot to do with who was in the game and how they were trying to run the offense. He had a lot more of those drives that we're used to seeing from him, so he wasn't out there facilitating as much. I think that was, personnel and defense dictated. But, like some of the spectacular plays where he was driving to the rim. At one point, Josh Hart just pulled his hands up and was like, what do you want me to do with this guy? Because he was going this way, and then he went this way, and then he came back that way. And Josh Hart's a very good defender. That's my expectation for him. 33 points, obviously higher than what his average is about 26, but I expect about 30 points from him every single night in this playoff series.
And I'll tell you what, you bring up a great point. Josh Hart doing that, one of their best defenders.
Right?
I don't think the Knicks have anybody that can stop him.
No.
And if triple drives are what they are, the way he went, now I expect to see an adjustment. I expect them to collapse the lane. Why? Because the Sixers didn't shoot three-pointers all that well.
No.
So I'll let you shoot that. I shouldn't say let. I think they'll encourage side shooting more as opposed to letting Maxey get to the rim as easily as he did on Saturday until the Sixers can prove that they're legitimate from outside. And
you hope that Maxey gets some of the calls because he has not gotten those calls in the past because he does facilitate a lot of contact. And so sometimes you're thinking, all right, well, where is it? And he's not that we always like to say that. But there is a certain thing with referees, and whether it's just in the back of their mind or whatever, certain guys get calls. Kyle Lowry got a call late in that game, and I thought he didn't touch him. But Kyle Lowry gets that call.
Right. Oh, yeah, it was on the layup. It was on and Josh Hart got called for the foul. I texted with someone in the league about the refereeing. Everything
it was fine.
Checked out. Yeah. Early on in the game, there was a couple of, wait a minute, what's going on? But that happens every game. It all leveled out very well. The grading for the officials was good. There was one call in the L2Ms, the last 2 minutes, that was maybe Lowry got brushed on the side of the head, but he made the layup. And a lot of times, for people that don't know, when you hear those late whistles, he wasn't going to make that call, and then the late whistle, the ruling, from what I understand, what I was told years ago, was a lot of times, yes, referees know that there's contact. They see the contact. But does it affect the play?
Right.
If the ball goes in the basket, it didn't affect the play to the amount
Especially
of calling
if it's
for
a
a
ticky-tack.
three-point. Exactly. Yeah. So just, to give you some insider there. But no, the refereeing graded out good. Scott Foster, who I know a lot of people don't like to see out there, his crew did a fine. They were fine. They were fine on Sunday. I didn't hear one person from Saturday till this morning say anything to me about the refereeing.
No, I don't think it didn't come out egregious
fine.
or anything.
All right, let's get to Kelly Oubre now, Aim. So, to me, a Kelly Oubre is a guy, and I think I said it with you on the air, that if you're not shooting well, you have that guy that can take the ball and go to the basket, and that's a good thing. Only 3 for 7 from the floor in his 39 minutes. I need more from him.
Yeah, I wonder if his defense and what he did on Jalen Brunson didn't carry over a little bit into some of the struggles on offense. He's going to have to find a way to. But if that's what I'm going to take is his defense on Jalen Brunson, I will take that. I want a little bit more. I want his shooting to be more because I think this guy is a scorer. He's an aggressive player. He saw how Maxey got to the basket. He should be able to do that. But you wonder if you're exerting so much effort on the defensive end, if that doesn't take a hit on your offensive end as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love what they did. I love what they did defensively. Asked for it on Saturday before the game on our pregame show. I said I'd like to see kind of a smother thing. If it's a real quick guard and a fast guard, no, it's hard to put height on him.
Like Maxey.
Yeah, exactly. But Jalen Brunson is the type of guy because of the craftiness. Okay, I might get beat on here, but like I said, Nick Nurse must have taught these guys from behind to play from behind. You're not out of it. When he goes up for a shot, you can still get a deflection. Look, it's so funny. I remember teaching kids, like, you don't really teach kids to block shots. But Jimmy Lynam, I kid you not, I was a 7th grader up at a camp in the Poconos. And Jimmy Lynam comes out, and it's hot. And he is talking so hard and into it so much, he is dripping sweat. Dripping sweat. And at the time, he says, who knows Julius Erving here? Now, I'm in 7th grade. Julius Erving was the king. And everybody raised their hand. He goes, where's the biggest kid here that can palm a basketball? And he brings the kid out. He goes, palm that ball like Julius Erving. And the kid's palming it. And Jimmy Lynam goes, ah! And puts his pinky on the ball and knocks it out of the kid's hands. He said, that's all it takes in basketball to disrupt the play. I don't want to see you having blocked shots. If a guy goes up for a shot and you can just get a finger on it, that's all. You don't have to swat it out of bounds.
And then he said,
and he said, of course, Julius Erving, when he shakes my hand, he tickles my elbow. You guys don't have hands like that, so don't try to play like that. But point being, I think that Nick Nurse did a really good job of telling these guys, you're not out of it if Brunson drives by you. You can get some, deflections from behind. Now, Oubre had kind of a silly foul where he lost sight of the ball and he went backdoor and then he tried to block it and fouled him. Can't lose sight of the ball. But Kelly Oubre as a whole, aimed defensively good, need more offense.
Yeah, and I think there was a payoff there, and I think they'll try to work to remedy that and maybe get a little help. But when his defense was so good on Jalen Brunson and frustrated Brunson so much, I was like, all right, I'll take that because I thought there was other opportunities for other players to step up. 9 points, I'm going to need more than that. I want to see you, obviously, just be that aggressive player, especially late. I think you saw some of that down the stretch when they had that good run late in the third, early in the fourth. They had a great third quarter. We didn't even talk about that second quarter. 12 points.
Yeah, that's horrible.
That's the lowest quarter of any quarter in the entire season. In a playoff game, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I know the Knicks defense is good, but, like, that was – and obviously Joel Embiid was missing for a chunk of that one, but come on.
Yeah, that's – we'll go over the quarters by quarters also because that's a great point. Now, the bench, I'll do collectively. Paul Reed, I think, was fine. He's going to give you his 10 to 15. If he doesn't hurt you, that's fine. But Nick Batum, Paul Reed – Buddy Hield.
Yeah, Buddy Hield.
26, 11, and 11 minutes. Those guys went minus 20, minus 21, minus 16.
You can't have
Can't have that. You need Buddy Hield has to hit some open shots.
He was quick to say it afterwards. Like, he knew that he had to be better. He thought that he just couldn't get in his rhythm, which I get. And I think that's one of the things the Knicks do. And they saw obviously how he was with the Heat. But Buddy Hield, you're supposed to be the microwave scorer out there. You're the guy that's the catch and shoot three. Like, what are we doing out here? And when in the Heat game, when they were starting to come back in the fourth quarter, I thought Hield did some nice things by putting the ball on the floor, trying to create a little bit. Maybe a shot he didn't feel was there, and then, of course, he made a three after that, a couple of threes. But I think if you're not feeling it and your three's not going down, give me something else. Like, do something else. Get yourself going in a positive way, whether it's getting to the free throw line, driving the lane. Because Buddy Hield, I thought we showed that when he first got here. He could put the ball on the floor better than I thought people.
And he did it on Saturday. Remember, he dribbled drive,
was great. Like,
had a
let's
layup,
go.
and missed the layup.
Yeah, well, that's
and that's a little thing. Maybe that gets a Buddy Hield going.
Right.
A microwave scorer like you described. Maybe just a layup. We hear it all the time. If you're having trouble shooting, get to the basket.
Yeah, get the ball in your
hands. Get the
hands.
basket. Try to get an easy shot there, or you get fouled. Get to the foul line.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself going some way. So those guys have to be better. Batum also covering Jalen Brunson. I like that.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job. He's funny, and I brought this up weeks ago. He picks up at 94 feet a lot.
Yeah.
But he doesn't exert energy. It's not like he's running all around.
It's
He's
like
just and he's long enough that he can kind of smother. Okay, I don't have him here. I'll
good
go back.
instincts.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
That
So,
saves him a lot.
I mean, the bench, if you look at it, New York's bench of Bogdanovich, Robinson, and McBride went plus 27, plus 20, plus 37.
The plus 37 is just mind-blowing.
In 28 minutes, plus 37 in a
McBride.
game that you won by 7 points.
Never seen anything like that.
So Sixers bench has to do a better job of lessening the advantage that New York had there. All right, let's go the Knicks real quick. Anunoby, I thought you kept him pretty silent.
Yeah.
He didn't kill you defensively. He's a very good defensive player. He was a -5 for the game. I didn't really notice him all that much.
No.
So, okay. Hartenstein, however you want to pronounce it, he's a nothing. Jalen Brunson, I don't know if you can limit him the way you did on Saturday again.
He's
and
going
that's
to work
a negative
hard for
to the
it.
Sixers.
Yeah, here's a kid that he just doesn't have back-to-back bad games in his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see the 8 for 26s for him. It just doesn't happen. You want it to, but he wills his team. There's a reason he's going to get 1 or 2 MVP votes. It's because he willed that team across the finish line as the 2 seed. It's Jalen Brunson and Jalen Brunson alone.
Yeah, I brought it up on Saturday in the pregame. I said that I think we used it as a promo or something like that, that I said the difference between Jalen Brunson and Joel Embiid is while they're the most important players for their teams, Jalen Brunson has to control the game.
Yeah.
Embiid doesn't. He can dominate, but that doesn't mean he's controlling it. Jalen Brunson controls speed, controls how they're scoring, where they're scoring, all of those things. The Sixers mostly took that away on Saturday, and the Knicks still wound up winning the game and getting a lot of open shots.
And those complementary players that they've really built around Jalen Brunson, it came through. I mean, they lost their second leading scorer, an all-star, in Julius Randle, and to get the 2 seed and to play to the end, a guy that on a given night we know can put up 40 points. You don't expect Josh Hart to do that, but Jalen Brunson does, because when he's off, he needs his guy to step up.
Yeah, in Josh Hart, you had a tremendous game. 5 for 12, 4 for 8 from threes. 22 points, 13 rebounds. Outlier?
Not the double-double outlier, because that's what he does.
Right.
But the 22 points is an outlier. He doesn't average 20 points. So I think that's a bit of an outlier. The 4 for 8 is the biggest outlier of his whole stat line. He does not make 4 threes. He's a 31% three-point shooter. But the thing is, like, when you're looking at that, defensively, you're going to give him that shot.
And Josh Hart talked about that.
You're going to give him the shot.
If you saw
it's not the
last,
Ben Simmons treatment, but it's close.
Right. If you saw the last 3 that he made,
he
was overly excited about it. And at one point, I think he looked over. I'm pretty sure this was my eye. He looked over at the Sixers bench and with you're going to leave me open?
Yeah, I'll make it. He was like,
okay.
He was off kilter. His legs are flying. When that went in, I was like, that's not a good sign.
Yes, I think it was Andrew this morning that says you don't expect him to be making Steph Curry shots.
No.
So that's where it was.
But he's talented.
Their bench, he is. Their bench was phenomenal. Bogdanovich, of course, goes 3 for 8 from 3. 3 for 6, I'm sorry, from 3. He gets you 13 points. Deuce McBride, who we talked about, 21 points off the bench and seemed to hit just big 3 after big 3 after big 3. Yeah. The weird thing is, looking at numbers, Aim, and then we'll move on to the team concept of it all. Anunoby, -5 while he was in the game. Hartenstein was -13. Jalen Brunson, -3. Josh Hart, -5. Dante DiVincenzo, a -23.
I saw that. I thought maybe it was like I'd like refresh my browser when I looked. I was like, that can't be right.
So when you look at all those numbers.
He was out there the only times where the Sixers were on the run. That's when he was out there. Defensively, he doesn't bring what a lot of the other guys bring. No.
Which is to say he doesn't play good defense. Yeah.
He's a three-point guy.
All right, so we just went over individual players. We went over numbers. We went over feelings and mental capacity of these teams. Does it make you feel? How does it make you feel?
See, I'm
towards
still
tonight?
confident. That's why, because I did look at the numbers, and I go back, and I didn't watch the entire game, but I've watched clips of the game, and I've watched different plays, and then I remember it because we talked about it, obviously, on our post-game show, and then the podcast, and then now we're talking on the radio. So you kind of remind yourself of different things when we go through it. Because there wasn't egregious things. I didn't look at that game and think, wow, the Sixers were completely outplayed. They were outclassed at every step of the way. No, I thought they made some bad mental mistakes, and the Knicks really stepped up. That's what a playoff team does. That's what the 2 seed does. So the Sixers, they're the 7 seed in name only. Let's be honest. If Joel Embiid didn't miss, 34 games?
Right.
40 games? They'd be higher than that. I don't know if they would be the 2 seed, but they would be in a top 5 seed for me. So this isn't a matchup we expected. I know it was one that concerned you, and now you're seeing why, because of how physical and well-disciplined that Knicks team is. They just don't make mistakes, and they had guys that had hot shooting nights. I don't think they're going to have those nights again.
Okay. Hopefully that gets limited in who has what nights.
You do worry about Jalen Brunson waking up.
Yeah, that's true. So, listen, if you want to chime in, how do you feel about this Sixers game tonight? Of course, you have one game to go off of. That was Saturday night. And we just went all through everything. I have some more notes. Obviously, we're going to go through it and Amy's feelings on a lot of different things. But how do you feel? 610-632-0975. We'll open it up. Love to hear how you feel. How did Saturday, I don't know, sway you one way or the other? I just gave out a lot of numbers, and Amy gave out a lot of opinion about maybe there's reason to feel good tonight.
Yeah, I don't feel scared. I don't feel concerned. I mean, there's a level of like, all right, that can't happen again. I don't think it's going to happen again. What will happen? That's what the exciting thing is. But you're still thumb sideways?
Well, yeah, and it's dipping a little bit after we get Tyrese Maxey, if you haven't heard, is now questionable for tonight. He is sick. We haven't gotten the sickness. I don't know if it's gastroenteritis.
Oh,
I don't know if it's they taught me that word. I never heard that word before until I started covering the Sixers. That was like my 3rd year in when they invented that one. So.
Sometimes they give you my favorite was
NBA
somebody
poops
recently
is
had
what Jamie Lynch used to call it.
They had a great toe injury. I think it was KJ Martin.
Oh, it was. Yes, great toe.
And I was like, do we stop calling it the big toe?
Yeah, well, I guess when you're a grown-up playing professional sports, it's a great toe.
Are the other toes less great?
Yeah, well, if it was your little one, would it be like
he's just the
bad toe?
Yeah, exactly. The least toe.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Maxey did not participate in shoot-around this morning. Questionable for tonight. Obviously, that is a huge, huge situation going on right now for the 76ers. I'll come out and say I don't think they can win without him.
No, I don't think that there's especially with Joel Embiid. Obviously, he's always going to be listed as questionable with his knee injury. Even if he's hampered, even if he plays, and he's hampered, it's very tough to win a game where you don't have your guard out there that can put up 30 points for you and run the offense and slice and dice the defense the way that Maxey does against the Knicks. I don't know that he'll be able to do that. I think they're going to have a gang tackle and they're going to crowd the lane on him. But the way we see him sometimes go left, right, and then center, and then all of a sudden put it up, he doesn't have difficulty, kind of wheeling his way through the defense. But I don't see a game at Madison Square Garden that you win without Tyrese Maxey. I'd love for them, but I think it's just questionable. Questionable is not doubtful. Questionable is a question. They have to say.
You can't get that anywhere else, people.
Oh, yeah. Just means there's a question, Ray. Right? Just one question.
Just one.
Yeah, Ray. I don't know what you don't. Amy just described it perfectly. I don't know why you don't understand what questionable is.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't mean he's out, Ray.
Yeah, I get nervous sometimes,
there's
Bob.
a question of whether he's going to play or not play.
Bob,
no
I just can't have nice things, okay?
Yeah, that's
cannot.
true.
You know what is a nice thing? How about a Mother's Day giveaway? Well, head to 975thefanatic.com to enter for a chance to win $2,000 for Mom in the Mother's Day nationwide contest. It's sponsored by Pallades Florist. Make Mom's Mother's Day special with beautiful flowers from Pallades Florist. Now with 3 locations to serve you, visit Pallades Florist. That's Polites Florist.com. You could use a couple of grand for Mother's Day. How would you use it? You buy tickets and take your kids out to go be with the sickos.
That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah, right?
Because that's our experiences. We were at the game. We were at the Phillies game yesterday. We love experiences like that. Maybe a little playoff game for the boys.
Now, what did you do Did you dress up for the Fanatic's birthday yesterday? Do you have any Fanatic gear?
I mean, I have a Fanatic hat, but I let Sean. Well, Sean wore his Fanatic hat.
Yeah, I saw
that. Yes, but I didn't. I celebrate the Fanatic's birthday as a whole. I am a giant Philly Fanatic fan.
So you celebrate the Fanatic every day?
Every day.
Every single
April 25th, 1978 was his debut.
I couldn't believe that when they said it was 47 years, or he's 47 years old or something like that.
It's crazy.
That's amazing. Like that's older than almost everybody
46,
here.
46. He
Except
looks
me.
great, doesn't he?
Hasn't really changed all that much.
Well, he
They
had that
tried
dip.
to change
Yeah, he
him.
had that dip with the old copyright and the whatnots, but they resolved it. Now he's
that
back,
wasn't-
baby.
Now he's back. Now he's back.
And
to
all
full
his friends
form.
were out yesterday.
Yes, they were. That
was great.
That was pretty cool also. Okay, when we get back, want you to jump in. We want to hear what your thoughts are. I kind of want to feel of the people, Aim, of how they feel about tonight. And how much does Saturday come into play of how you feel about tonight? How much does what happened with Joel Embiid? Maybe it's the Tyrese Maxey news that we had to deliver this morning, that he is down with a sickness right now, didn't go to shoot around. He is questionable for tonight. So much to talk about. Join us, 610-632-0975. Amy Fadul here. This is Middays, Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Up.
back. 97.5 The Fanatic on this Monday morning. Game 2 of your Philadelphia 76ers versus New York Knicks first round NBA playoffs, with the Knicks holding a 1-0 lead after that game on Saturday in Madison Square Garden, except for one. I think the Pelicans Oklahoma City Thunder game was a 2-point game last night.
Everybody else was pretty.
Everybody else besides the Sixers was kind of a blowout. 13.3 was the average margin of victory for all home teams, for all the favored teams in the NBA playoffs this weekend. Home teams won by an average of 13.3 points. So, we started the show. I was trying to encourage people, although it may have sounded a little bit like I was bashing Joel Embiid about his reaction to landing on his leg with the turnaround, hands up in the air, fall down on the ground, then throw both legs over the head, then lay on the floor and blinking with like one eye at a time or whatever was going on there. I was trying to say later on, as I watched the game again last night, he appeared good to me. He appeared okay. I saw him cutting off of that knee in the third and fourth quarters last night, so I was painting a positive picture. Then Amy and I went to break, and we were just talking about stuff, and I said, did you see about this sunglasses thing? And Amy's like, yeah. So I read directly out of Keith Pompey's story, and Keith is going to join us at noon. Keith had this to say. Embiid refused to speak to the media after the game, and the 30-year-old donned white sunglasses while getting dressed at his locker. Then on Sunday, Embiid emerged from the team's Manhattan hotel wearing the same sunglasses while hopping in a car service. Now, Amy does a little more research. And, Amy, what did you see this morning?
So I want to make sure I credit the person that posted it, because a couple people have posted shoot-around videos, and that's when we first saw the Tyrese Maxey wasn't there. But Sam DiGiovanni has it saying, here we are, a Sixers shoot-around underway. This was at 10:12 a.m. And it's just a quick pan. But, the internet is an amazing treasure trove of stuff. So you can take a video of it. You see Joel Embiid sitting on the sideline, and I will say the sunglasses are not white this time, because I zoomed in, because that's what it is. And I zoomed in. You could see him sitting there, black sunglasses, no shoes on. But he did put them on as the video is panning. So at 10:12 or whenever this was posted, you can see him putting the sunglasses on. So that, I wish you guys could see how zoomed in this video is. But it's clearly Joel Embiid with his shades on. Listen, it's the bright lights.
It is New York City. A lot of bright lights there, Aim.
Never sleeps.
Yeah.
So he's still got his shades on. I will be interested to see if that's something that's talked about ahead of the game. Listen, all right, because Keith Pompey asked Nick Nurse about it. And now you've got 3 separate instances of sunglass wearing. It's fine for he's going out in Midtown Manhattan, sunglasses. In the locker room afterwards is a little strange, but maybe it's precautionary. Inside an arena, again, all right, now the third time.
And that's at Madison Square Garden.
That's at the Garden.
They had shoot-around at the Garden this morning. Embiid is there with a hoodie on, with the hood up, and maybe he didn't want anybody to recognize him.
Well, he is famous.
So, I don't know. Yet another
protective eyewear for tonight's game?
Oh, my God. I don't know. Well,
get the Horace Grant rec specs. Bring them back.
Yeah, I could see little Shawnee wearing rec specs.
He absolutely has rec specs.
I thought I saw pictures of.
He absolutely has rec specs.
None of my kids ever had to do the rec specs. We were talking about our kids. We're fortunate enough that our kids weren't, and Amy still has young kids. My kids are all done playing sports. My kids never it wasn't the need a knee pad. Oh, I'm going to wear this, or I'm hurt that. My kids were, luckily for me, it has nothing to do with me. My kids were tough.
Well, they better not try it with me.
You're unbelievable. Amy goes like this. She goes, Sean went down one time, said he hurt his ankles, and she goes, you don't even have ankles. You're only 9. Get up and play.
You barely have ankles.
I know. I was like, damn. But
you're fine.
So now Joel Embiid's doing the eye thing. Maybe he wants to take attention away from the knee. I don't know. But Nick Nurse was asked about the eye thing yesterday by Keith Pompey, and here's what his response was.
Good ball. Yep. How's Joel's leg doing today?
Pretty good, I think. I asked him how he's feeling. He said, pretty good.
Yeah. Nick, we all talk about the knee, but he also took a pretty good shot in the eye. He kept in the game, stayed in the game, but he kept, touching his eye. Last night we room. He has sunglasses on. Same thing today, leaving here. How is his eye? Did he fracture it or anything again? Because that's the same. But he's fine.
Yep, it's okay. Yep.
Nope. Yep. Okay. Nope.
All right, look, I might be reading too much into it, and I don't want to, and I'm not bashing everybody. I'm just trying to figure out where this team is health-wise. Is Nick Nurse getting, tired of this, or does he just not want to talk about that and get into the film room? Or
I think he doesn't tired of talking about it. I think it's probably the combination we're looking for. I think it's just like one thing after another. Listen, Joel Embiid's hurt. I got it. This guy's happy. Whatever. All right. He just wants to get in and get the game underway. This guy, that's what he focuses on. I don't think he wants to be fooling with all this nonsense with the sunglasses and answering questions about, is his eyeball okay? Is his eyeball okay? I don't know. We'll find out.
All right. So during the break, Amy and I were talking, and I'm looking at my notes that I took from rewatching the game last night. Oh, wait, before I get into that, with this eye thing, full disclosure here. So halftime of the game came on Saturday. Our neighbor across the street, my man Nick, turned 87 on Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday, Nick.
My wife and I let them know. I said, hey, we're going to come over to halftime. We brought a cake over. So, we sang happy birthday to him and all that stuff. So then the Sixers started the third quarter and started coming back. So it was just going to be a halftime, hey, great to see you again. Well, Sixers start coming back. I looked at Nick and his beautiful wife, Mary Lou, and I'm like,
you have to continue watching at their house.
Nick, you might want to go get me a beer because we got to stay. And he says, of course. Rules. Nick hops up, 87, goes and gets me a beer and all that and stuff. So full disclosure, the eye thing, if they gave further report on it, I didn't when they weren't actually playing, I was paying more attention to
No, I don't think there was anything said on it that I recalled.
Did they show him getting poked in the eye?
You could see there was one time where he took it and he grabbed his eye.
On the side of the face?
Like right here. No, it was on the eye. It looked like maybe the corner, which probably wouldn't bother you.
But they never, in all of the replayability that they have on television, they never caught him taking anything to the eye.
It looked like he took.
Because when I rewatched last night, you just fast forward to the actual play. And so I never saw a replay or anything like that he got hit. So I don't remember. But anyway.
Listen, I've seen you put contacts in. Nothing bothers you about your eyes.
Yes. So Amy and I were talking during the break, and I started the show out by talking about Joel Embiid's reaction to his knee. My point really, really was, I don't think it's as bad as it looks with the reaction of him and all, because when I rewatched the game last night, and in the second half particularly, he seemed to be moving fine to me. I brought up something to Amy, and she's like, oh, that's right. We talked about that on the set also. Do you guys remember in the third quarter, I believe it was third quarter, let me see. Yeah, third quarter, Jalen Brunson goes down. Yep, third quarter, end of third quarter. Jalen Brunson goes down on the floor. Joel Embiid is a good 3-4 feet away or something. Was his momentum kind of going that way? At the very slightest, it was. Mm-hmm. He could have stopped. Fine there. Tap the brakes. You're good. Joel Embiid proceeds to take 2 more steps and then jump over
a little leap.
The fallen Jalen Brunson.
Like a little leap over Jalen.
Right then and there. As soon as I'm like, what are you doing? Now, further proof to me that knee is okay. Why are you jumping over an individual when you don't have to?
Yeah, it's not a thinking thing. I see. That's something I would do.
Exactly.
That's where I think it's the mental aspect of it. He sees him. I'm going that way. I'll just leap over him. If your knee is hurting, there's a lot that could go wrong there when you're leaping and kind of, listen, it's not this big grandiose leap like, kind of deer type of thing, but he saw a person down there and he stepped over him in a graceful kind of gliding way.
Yeah, it was a jump.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a 7'2" guy, spreading his legs over and
a little leap.
No, he did a leap.
It was. But I think that's the non-thinking of it. Like, I'm just gonna, that guy's in my way. I'm just gonna leap over him. That's why I think when we're talking about the knee injury, obviously it's there, but I think it's there. It's in the forefront of his mind a lot, and I think that's going to be a harder thing to get over.
It's in the forefront of his mind more than it's in the forefront of his knee.
Yes.
Is that what we're thinking?
Listen, right now maybe it'll distract him with the eyeball thing.
I don't know. I expect him to play with a huge brace and sunglasses tonight.
If he doesn't
Maybe
come
that's
out with
Joel Embiid at his best.
I love it.
I don't know. And another mental aspect that you bring up, Keith Pompey asked the question because he has broken his face twice. I hate to laugh at that. I feel so bad for the guy.
He's
but
had 2 orbital
who the
fractures.
hell breaks their face twice? I mean, barely anybody once, let alone twice. So is that maybe the concern part of the eye thing? Maybe it's this.
My orbital fracture coming back to rear its ugly head. No, I don't think it's that. Sunglasses don't clear up an orbital fracture. You need the full-on Fan of the Opera mask.
Yeah, maybe that's not far behind. I don't know. We know how well he reacted to that, but it's just like Amy said when we started the show today. Have nice things. And now the news is, in case you're just joining us, Tyrese Maxey is questionable tonight. He was not at shoot-around. He is sick. I don't know what the sickness is. I don't think any of us does. As I said, he was not at shoot-around this morning at Madison Square Garden. I don't think they win without him. It's plain and simple. If he's not announced in that starting lineup tonight, that is a hill I don't think they can climb.
I just don't know how when you just break it down and you just look at the numbers alone, save anything else that he does, obviously the way that facilitates the offense and runs it and the way he's able to get to the basket and get through those defensive pressures that they have for them, especially the when they go to show up front and he has to break down it because they were guarding the three-point line, at least initially, and then they realized the Sixers weren't going to make any threes, so they kind of stopped doing that. But just his presence alone is a reason they don't win that game. But then you have to add in the 30-plus points, 33. I expect him to be a 30-point scorer or close to every single game.
Yeah, and the Sixers didn't shoot all that well on Saturday. And a lot of that, they had open shots. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those open shots are because people are respecting his ability to drive the lane. Right. You're a pass away, and Maxey has the ball. Your momentum is kind of leaning in towards the lane because that's where you think he's going to go, and you want to be there to help his teammate. If he drives and kicks, guys were wide open. There was a lot of openness to be had on Saturday. That's
why his assists, I think, are down because he made those assists, he made those passes, and the shots didn't go down. They will go down at a bigger clip. I don't think we're not going to wake up and all of a sudden become like a 52%, but I would think you're going to see that closer to 50%.
Okay, what say you? I need you to call now. Let us know, 610-632-0975. Not only where do you feel about this Sixers game tonight, now Tyrese Maxey being questionable, Joel Embiid with the knee, with the eye, all of those things, how New York played on Saturday night. But I want to know from you, where do the Sixers particularly need to get better? We talked about the offensive rebounding, so we'll take that off the board. Give us your insight on it. Give us how you feel about Sixers-Knicks Game 2 tonight. 610-632-0975, or you can also text that number and let us know how you feel. Bob Cooney Middays, we're lucky enough to be joined by Amy Fadul today. We'll be back right at you right after this.
Bob Cooney.
Jalen Brunson has to control the game for the New York Knicks. And with the ball in his hand and getting where he wants to go and getting the ball to his teammates where they want it, that is how he controls the game. Joel Embiid more so controls the game by dominance, by scoring, by rebounding, by playing defense at the rim.
Insight and perspective on the 76ers you can only get here. This is 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hey guys, Andrew, the road to the NBA Finals starts now, and new customers on Fan
biggest play on Saturday in your Game 1 loss to the New York Knicks up in Madison Square Garden. I heard that, I guess, yesterday at some point. I don't know when. That was the first time I heard Tom describe
McGinnis's
it.
call?
Yeah.
He was all of us.
Couldn't have said it any better, that last line. The Sixers' playoff hopes are on the he said on the line. They were on the floor right there, yeah.
So think about it. So when we're all watching together and the Phillies are playing, so the newsroom is somewhat busy, and when that happened, just the air went out. Everybody was like, no. Like, no. But you were like, since you think he was like the drama, you're like, it's fine.
I hate
You
that
don't
I'm
think
like
that looked
this.
a little different when he's just laying in there and staring into the void? That's what scared me. His face scared me. I was like, he looked like he'd seen a ghost.
His eyes.
What's
going on there?
Maybe that was the start of the eye thing with the sunglasses. Who knows?
I guess, but I was like, dude, just blink normally. I felt like saying, if you could hear me blink, both your eyes at the same time. It really was like a cartoon character.
He looked like he was concerned. That was a concerned face.
My reaction was not that I'm proud of. Yeah, you're right, Amy.
Yeah, I know.
It
you thought it
was
was.
Oh, come on.
I just screamed,
Like,
no, come on. That's what I screamed.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know, but that's just how I felt. But a lot of people have feelings on tonight's game, so let's start it off. Glenn in Wallingford, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Glenn?
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good. Listen, it was just frustrating. Obviously, he goes down, he comes back. He's kind of obviously a little bit slower. And the thing that frustrated me a little bit more, and I'll get into tonight's game, but the other game was that even if he's not feeling 100% or even the same way he felt early in the game, his shot selection really hurt them down the stretch. And he's got to kind of collect himself within the moment and be like, all right, listen, I can't force these shots. And those shot selections really hurt. And because obviously, he's such a presence out there and he creates space for everybody else. You get the better shot for the other guy. And I think that was, down the stretch really hurt them last game. So, I don't know what your thoughts about that one.
You're optimistic tonight, Glenn?
Oh, I am, because, listen, playoff series, can drastically change from game to game, right? And so, I think unless Maxey is really, really sick, hopefully they're just taking, a precaution with him. Embiid, obviously, again, it could be a day-to-day thing. But listen, if they're both out there, I think they can win. The thing that kills me, again, are those hustle points, right? When you're missing jump shots, you're getting those long rebounds, and the Knicks got to every one of those. Make what the Knicks did. Get those hustle points.
They're going to need something there. Glenn, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I don't know. What was yesterday? Yesterday was Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I was listening to Bill Collarula. I don't remember where I heard it. But one of the first calls I heard started with that. A Ricky Council or a KJ Martin. I'm like, my first thought was, seriously, if that's what we're first going to. Now, Glenn's point is a good one. If you need energy guys and those guys aren't getting it, okay, if you're in a situation where maybe you're up 7, it's late in the game, and you're like, can't give up offensive rebounds, and you throw those guys out there and you say, A, do not let your man get an offensive rebound.
That's your sole job.
B, if there's the ball, a loose ball, go get it. Yeah, that is your job.
And when you get it, pass it away immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately give the ball back.
I think I was that kid when I was like a little kid and they put me up on, varsity as like a 3rd grader, 4th grader. And they're like, yeah, Bob, as soon as you get it, pass it to somebody else.
Thank you for getting the ball. We appreciate it.
Work on your passing there, buddy, as best you can.
Not your game today, fella.
Curtis in Northeast Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's going on, Curtis?
What's going on, guys?
You confident for tonight?
I'm pretty confident. I've been a season ticket holder for 15 years. Sorry, Amy, shout out to you and the MD. I got that on ice when we do beat the Knicks this series.
That's right, Mad Dog. You know it. Curtis knows what's what.
But as far as tonight goes, I'm not too worried. It is in hostile territory. New York is, a very tough place to get a win. But we almost pulled it out, barring some unique circumstances. We were getting killed on the boards. There was a lot of quote-unquote negative to take away from the game, but at the same time, it was late in the game. It was still very winnable for us. Just like the previous caller said, outwork them, get those 50-50 balls. The rebounding was atrocious, so let's just get that cleaned up. Pray Tobias gives us something. I feel like if he can give us something, and if Buddy Hield can not be so apprehensive to take those shots. Look, you got the green light, bro. You're from the Mecca. Like, show us something. Not all hope is lost. Let's tie this up and come back to Philly 1-1.
All right, Curtis, I like it.
Yeah.
And he's got the MD on ice for you, Aim.
Ready, as if you need it on ice.
Ray,
do you need it on ice?
You do not need it on ice.
I like that it's on ice. It
That's
does
very
make
nice.
Yeah, the Orange Jubilee is a little bit better when it's on ice, but let's be honest.
You break that out at any time.
Straight from the glass.
Yes,
Straight
from the glass.
Paper bag or not, whatever. Your choice.
I love the picture of you when you're bombed with it. That was a good
Everybody
look.
thinks I'm hammered on set. I was not.
You were hammered.
But we'll lean into that.
Lean into it.
Yeah, I'm embracing it at this point.
All right, so when I rewatched the game last night, I did take some notes. So I just want to read some of the notes, and these are just some of them, to you to see if I was maybe seeing something that wasn't there or if you're in agreement, whatever. All right, early on, Embiid, high and low, early movement by the team, really good offense.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
early on,
we did see he was high and low. Like I heard somebody called the morning show today. He never went into the post.
In the second half, he went into the post one time.
Right, but
second
early
half,
on in the game,
yes, there's a lot more movement. There's a lot more movement to their offense as a whole.
Now that leads to my another note that I had. Quick offense equals good offense.
Yeah.
Right? Did you see? We saw a lot of standing around in the second half.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't want to the Knicks are going to try to dictate their style, and that's what the Sixers try to do from the jump. We're not going to play your style. That's that plotting. It's very set up. All right, this is what we're going to run. Jalen Brunson's going to be here, and everybody's going to move. Sixers want to run. They want to go. They want to push the pace. That was obviously problematic in the second half. But when you saw Tyrese Maxey and Kyle Lowry out there, they did push the pace, and that was what led the comeback. But, yeah, to your point, quick decisions, quick movements, everything kind of go. Click, click, click.
I like that. Click, click, click.
Click, click, click.
All right, you can't watch the Knicks when they take a shot. You have to. You can't watch the ball when they take a shot. You have to go to somebody and box them out. Like, we're not. This isn't grammar school. I know it's not like we're doing the drill. Put the ball in the middle of the circle, and you got to box out your man and don't let him get the ball. But there's got to be some toughness of keep the guy away from the ball.
Yeah.
And go to him. Somebody brought up a good point, and we were all taught this when you're little. The longer the shot, the longer the rebound.
That's the thing. And I think one of the previous callers brought that up. These are long rebounds. Being under the basket isn't exactly going to help you in those things because of the way that they're shooting the ball. So you have to be able to know where your man is and make sure he hit it.
Brunson defensively, don't get frustrated by it. Did you see any frustration on the Sixers' part on defense? I don't think I did.
I didn't really see
that. There could have been a couple offensive rebounds where you saw some shoulders droop a little bit, like, oh, not again. But that's kind of to be expected. They were always jump switching to Brunson, especially early in the game. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was very active defense on him.
It. Yeah, I thought that was awesome. Tobias Harris foul at 7.2 seconds in the first quarter. That was just complete crap. But I have more notes that will go on throughout the day. When we get back, Keith Pompey is going to join us. Let us know what in the holy heck is going on with these Sixers, as now you have sunglass-wearing Joel Embiid, as now you have Tyrese Maxey back at the hotel with some kind of a sickness and questionable for tonight. All that and more. Middays, Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic. Word star, S-T-A-R, to 45911. Text the word star to 45911, or you can enter it on the Fanatic app or at 975thefanatic.com. One winner selected at random will win $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Winners will get a call from Beasley, so make sure you answer your phone. Complete rules are at 975thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic signing bonus is presented by Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. Demand Rand for justice. Star, S-T-A-R, to 45911. Please never text and drive. And as always, good luck.
This is Philadelphia's sports station for breaking news. Now, more with Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
I'm glad I keep you two smiling. That's what I'm here
stuff.
for.
That was good
Absolutely.
Stuff. You're a star.
If people only knew what an idiot I am, and many of them do. All right, so big game tonight, Game 2, Sixers at the Knicks, down 1-0 in the series. If that was all to talk about, this would be great. But there are so many side stories to all this. And on the Comcast Business Hotline right now, someone that can enlighten us to a lot of these stories, Keith Pompey from The Inquirer. Keith, how you doing today, buddy?
Yo, what's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm great. You got some news to report, huh? What the hell's going on with this team?
On, Keith?
Yeah, man, I don't know. It just seems like, they just want to keep giving us more to talk about on the radio, TV, and on in print, right? That's what it just seems like.
Unbelievable. So you did a great job, and you and I were lucky enough to share the beat for many years, and I love when you dive into something that maybe nobody else wants to talk about, but you brought it up the other day about the eyeglasses that Joel Embiid was wearing, sunglasses when you went into the locker room.
Very specific, too.
Yeah,
white sunglasses.
white sunglasses.
I appreciated that because it helped today when I saw the black sunglasses.
Exactly.
That's
So
what
we know
Keith
he has
does.
more than one pair. So we have the knee, we have the eyeglasses, sunglasses, and now we have a sickness with Tyrese Maxey. So update us on all of it, can you, Keith?
Well, it's weird because, today, I guess y'all did see the black ones coming, coming into the arena. And you guys, we all know that, we all know that Joel rarely wears sunglasses. Or have you seen him wear sunglasses around the media?
Yeah, no.
To me, it was bizarre to see him in a towel with, trying to get dressed. I mean, he literally had his towel on with the sunglasses. And I'm like, yo, what's up with Joel's eye? He was like, I don't know. But if you notice in that game, he kept rubbing his eye after he got hit. You know what I mean? He kept, touching his face, And I asked Nick Nurse about it yesterday, and he said, he's fine. And of course, what do you expect them to say? If Joel wants to play, they're going to downplay it, right? But to me, it could be nothing, but at the same time, I felt like I had to ask that question because you rarely see him with that on. Now, Tyrese Maxey, wasn't at shoot-around, listed as questionable with an illness. There is some concern there, but I will say that, Tyrese is the type of guy that he knows the magnitude of this game. And if he can play, I expect him to fight to get on the court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be one of those things where you just stay in the hotel, rest up, do what you have to do, but Tyrese isn't one of those guys like, I'm going to miss the game. It's going to be really, really bad for Tyrese to miss the game. So I'm expecting both of them to play tonight.
Yeah, speaking of expectations, though, Keith, we were kind of going line by line about expectations, across the board, good and bad. Do you expect, the defense to be as good on Jalen Brunson? Do you expect Josh Hart to be able to go off like he did? Do you expect to have 30-plus from Tyrese Maxey? Do you expect Joel Embiid to perform? Where do you rate the expectations from Game 1 to Game 2? Do you think that those will continue, some of the same lines, or can the trends be kind of bucked in one way?
It's weird because you guys been, covering the Sixers just as long as I've been, if not longer. You guys know that, and unfortunately, the trend for the Sixers over the year has been giving up a lot of perimeter, a lot of three-point shots, right? It just seems like that just happens. And when you don't have a DeAnthony Melton or a Robert Covington out there and Nico Batum wasn't playing as many minutes, there's going to be one of those things where that's something that you're going to live with, unfortunately, right? The thing about Embiid, my big concern is that need to a point where he was extremely dominant in the first half of that game, and then he only shot 2 for 12 in the second. So I do think that Joel can have another dominant performance, but it's just something that you have to pay attention to. I think the major expectation is that, you got to, and the Sixers, like, they're not going to win this series if Tobias Harris continues to play the way he does, if Buddy Hill continues to play the way he does, and if Kelly Oubre can't give you anything on the offensive end either. So my expectation is that these three guys are going to have to step up, right? They definitely are. But I also think that they need to play, at least when he's playing with Embiid and Maxey in that lineup, they need to give Nico Batum more minutes because, especially if Tobias isn't making shots, Nico is a guy who's come in here. He could play D. He can guard a lot of different positions, and he plays well off the Embiid to whereas he goes to the corner and drains threes. So those are my expectations. But I do think that the Knicks, if you leave these guys open, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, this guy Deuce, they got number 2. I mean, I think they're going to Bogdanovich. I mean, I think they have the roster where guys are going to just rain threes. And that's something that you got to live with because you're going to try to take Brunson out of his game.
Keith, I want to ask you this question of both teams. What is the biggest thing that happened by the Knicks and the Sixers in Game 1 that you don't see being the norm for either the rest of the series or at least tonight? What's the one thing that you think was an anomaly for both teams that we're probably not going to see that much anymore in this series?
That we're not going to see that much anymore in the series. The biggest thing is, I guess, Joel Embiid going 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter with, like, a lot of open looks. You know what I mean? Now, again, I'm just saying if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And then some of those bad shots that the Sixers made, attempted. I mean, it was horrendous at times, right, for some of their role players. But I think the biggest thing is, I don't expect Joel to shoot 2 for 12 in the second half and go 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter. I can't see that happening again. I don't know too much about the New York Knicks roster, right? But that guy Deuce Edwards, this guy made 5 or 7 threes. Like, I don't know if he can do that. That's kind of like Kelly Oubre. Kind of like Nico Batum. I love Nico, but you don't expect Nico Batum to come out there and shoot 6 for 10, on a nightly basis, right? So I don't know if this guy Deuce can do that. Deuce McBride, if he can do that on a nightly basis, just hit 5 threes against the Sixers.
So that's 2 positives for the Sixers.
See?
Let's look at it that way. Go ahead, Aim.
Yeah, but I guess the flip side is Jalen Brunson, right? I mean, defense on them. And one thing we talked about earlier, Keith, was maybe Kelly Oubre suffered offensively because of the defense he was playing on Jalen Brunson. There's got to be some way to maybe figure that out, I think, a little bit more. Is it more defensive pressure from other people that they kind of group up with the defensive effort on Jalen Brunson? Or is it Oubre, some of those shots are just going to go in because he's going to be a little bit more aggressive? How would you play that one?
You know what? Here's the deal. Like, the way that he shut down Jalen Brunson, I'm like, bruh, if you shot 3 for 7 again,
you'll take it, right?
I'll take it. But I feel like in that scenario, then, like, a guy like Tobias, like Buddy Hill, they have to step up. You know what I mean? It's apparent on them to step up because when you look at it, Kyle Lowry did his job, right, on the offensive end. So, the one thing is, we can criticize Buddy. Not Buddy. People can criticize Kelly, and Kelly did make some mistakes. But on the defensive end, he was phenomenal. So, you know what? I'll take that. But that means, Tobias and Buddy, y'all got to take advantage of the shots. And Tobias did have 9 rebounds, which was a game high. But at the same time, I feel like, they got to do better on the offensive end.
Keith, when you look at Saturday night's game and everything that was there, then you get reaction in the locker room around the team again yesterday. Just in general, including Nick Nurse, players, What was their feelings after game one? Was there frustration? Was it a kind of, something different? What were your kind of feelings of what they were feeling after that game one?
It was kind of weird. Like Nick Nurse said something, and it made a lot of sense, right? The first thing that he said yesterday was, well, we saw this on film, right? We saw this, so now it's a reality. So in other words, like, now it's time to make adjustments, and I feel like that's what they're going to do. Like they also, and then Kyle talked about it, like, there are certain things that that you have to do better, right? Like in regards to like knocking down shots, open shots, and things like that. But and the bench has to play better, or the Sixers have to play better when Embiid's out. But I got it just that, okay, now it's time for us to like not trick them, but now we're going to come up with some different lineups, right? You know what I mean? Like I think that I'll be shocked if we don't see the lineup with Paul Reed and Embiid, right? So Paul Reed can get the rebounds, right? So to me, the gist that I got was that they know what they need to do. It's just a matter of going out there. And you know how it is. It's kind of like, game one, it's like, let's just go out there and play. We're going to see how this team, how things work out. And then from there, we're going to make the adjustments. And I feel like they're determined to make the adjustments that's needed. And one is, having a big lineup of at times with Paul Reed and Embiid, and just doing things on the defensive end to help them out.
All right, last thing, Keith. You think they take this one tonight? Is it 1-1 coming back on Thursday, or do you think New York kind of grabs a hold of this series at 2-0?
You know what? It's weird. If Maxey plays and he's okay, I do think that they'll take this one because, when you look at it and you think about how bad the 76ers played, you had the Embiid scare. He came back and we talked about he didn't make shots in the end, and it was still they only lost by 7 points on the road. I do believe that they have a good chance and that they will win. But again, if Maxey doesn't play, then I think that they're going to lose the game. I do.
Keith Pompey, we always appreciate you joining us. Hope you have a good time up there in New York, and safe travels home when you're done.
See you soon, Keith.
Hey, all right. Thanks, y'all.
All right, thanks, Keith. Keith Pompey from the Inquirer on the Comcast Business Hotline. He thinks that Tyrese Maxey's a go tonight.
I think he's a go. I'm with Keith in that, and we were talking about earlier. Maxey strikes me as a guy, in the time that I've covered him, as a guy that's going to be always available, barring something catastrophic. He's an always available type of guy.
And if he had a mom like Amy, she'd be like,
"Well, you better be
stop
available.
throwing up and just go
You're
play the game, will you, please?
Get some Pepto and call it a day."
So I'll tell you one thing that I've learned during this little playoff run is I really like listening to Kelly Oubre talk basketball. And it's funny, my friend Maria from Collingswood, she used to be a caller here. Yeah. I told you, she texted me. She's like, I love him. I said, oh, you like the way he plays? She goes, no, I seriously love him. And I can see why. Like, good-looking guy, very articulate. Anyway, yesterday, he kind of summed up, or the day, I guess it was, he summed up kind of a little bit of everything in what happened in game one, and I thought it was something we could share.
The Knicks is offensive rebounding. That's definitely number one. Number two is just unforced turnovers in the beginning of the game and allowing them to get such easy transition points. And then number three is still Jalen Brunson. Like, he didn't have his best game tonight, but at the end of the day, he's a tough task. But, I love going against him just because I just love his game. So, it'll be fun.
What do you feel like worked against Jalen for you tonight when you had to defend him?
Just pressure, full court pressure. That was the game plan all night. And, just listening to what Coach was telling me, which I'm not going to disclose, but listening to what Coach was saying all game, and, he was giving me nuggets and tips on how to just disrupt him and disrupt his flow. He's still going to score, still going to do what he does. He can shoot the ball anytime he wants, so, of course, that's, tough to, guard. But at the end of the day, you got to just stay solid for 48 minutes against him.
And that's what they did.
Yeah,
I thought they were terrific. And I think after listening to Kelly Oubre again, I think maybe that's why the frustration came with Nick Nurse in some of it, because what he designed specifically. All right, when Brunson gets the ball, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go big on him. If it comes to a high pick and roll, we're going to switch or jump him and make sure we have somebody with him at all times. Then your recovery comes to the pick man. Or if you're caught double teaming him, that's fine. Let's make sure you rotate. I think his specifics on that worked great. I think his generalization would have been, hey, guys, listen, they rebound offensively really well. You got to get after them. Get after them when they take a shot. Make sure you get a body on somebody and get loose balls. And that didn't happen. I think maybe that's where the frustration came in.
Yeah, I think you heard that. So that was obviously Oubre after the game, and they knew it. So if he's saying that right after the game, it was something that was talked about numerous times in game, right?
Yeah.
Certainly at halftime, I'm sure it was addressed. But then you heard Keith say that it was something else that they mentioned. Again, we knew it. We saw it on tape. They knew that going ahead of time. And the thing is, you know you're going to get out rebounded. It's just by how much. If it was 12-8 or it was even 15-8, I think we would be like, okay, well, listen, the Knicks are going to get theirs. The 23-8 and the fact that they made 55 misses and they rebounded 23 of those. Like, that is a giant percentage. You cannot let them.
You had the number. What was 42%?
42%. 42.1%.
Good work by you, by the way.
Thank you. That's what my calculator on my iPhone's for. But that's incredible. That's an incredible. They already rebounded the best clip in the league, 33%. They added almost 10 more percent. Like that, you can't happen. So I think when Nick Nurse is feeling any kind of frustration, it's like, we showed this to you. You guys understood it, and then yet we absolutely got crushed in that department. Again, they're going to double you up. I think you take that. If you can get a 14-8 kind of ratio on the offensive rebounds, you're going to take that. You can't get 23.
Yeah.
23 second chance. And that's why you got crushed on second chance points.
And if you're looking for positives for tonight, I think that's where you go directly, is that the Knicks did so many things that you say, and I'm not downplaying it. They're a good basketball team. I am not downplaying it. But there was a lot of things that they did that you can look at and say, I don't think they're going to do that again. That rebounding margin is probably one of them. The Deuce McBride coming off the bench and hitting 5 of 7 threes and going for 21 points. That's probably another one. The fact that also Bogdanovich had made such big shots, a banked three-pointer, all of that could be another one. Although he did have a game this year against the Sixers where he was 6 for 6 from 3.
He's shown that. He's shown that.
So there are more things, I think, going the Knicks' way that you say, I don't know if that could happen again. Although, the way Jalen Brunson played, that might be something you say, yeah, that's not going to happen again. He's not going to go 8 for 20, whatever. 26 again in this series. But Nick Nurse designed a pretty cool defense.
The defense. And maybe he goes 9 for 24. I feel like those numbers are going to be if the defense holds up the way that it did in that game one, and I think Kelly Oubre took a lot of pride. He said 48 minutes on Jalen Brunson. We knew it. We had to have it. And I'm with Keith, and you and I talked about it earlier. If that means you're kind of getting a little bit less offensively from Kelly Oubre, I'll take it. When it means that you don't have Jalen Brunson going off for 40 points. I will take it. And I think Oubre would probably take it too. What you need is the other guys to step up, obviously.
Yeah, and I heard what Keith was saying, and we talked about it earlier also about Paul Reed maybe being teamed with Joel Embiid.
Some of the big lineups.
Yeah, and it's something that we saw towards the end of the year. You and I, we would say it to each other the next day, like, oh, did you see that? Yeah. My trepidation with that is I think you can only do that if Kelly Oubre is in the lineup.
Right.
And covering Jalen Brunson. Because if you do it with Nick Batum in the lineup covering Jalen Brunson, you have no offense.
Right.
You're really limited offensively. So we'll see what Nick Nurse has in store for that tonight. I do have a really good quote that I want to read to you from Nick Batum that he said yesterday when the team gathered for whether they watched film or worked up a little sweat or not. It's a pretty interesting thought. I want to see what you guys have to say about it. Also, I want to hear from you. What do you think about tonight's game? We got a Monday night game, game 2. Sixers are down 1-0. We have eyeglasses. We have sickness. We have a knee. There's a whole bunch of nonsense going on here with the 76ers, but we're here to help you out. Amy Fadul, I'm Bob Cooney. Middays here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Game 2.
Up at 2.
Back here, if you guys could, Ray, I'm going to ask you this question because you didn't hear the conversation between me and Amy Fadul, who is joining us all day on middays today. Why do toes get slighted over fingers?
Wait, we have to say why we were talking about this. KJ Martin has the great toe injury, and I said, well, why is it the great toe, not the big toe? And you said, Bob, it's because he's an adult now.
Yeah, like all of a sudden you're a professional basketball player. Your big toe's a great toe. Like, how come we have a thumb, obviously, which makes us different from everybody else. We have opposing thumbs, but we have an index finger, we have a middle finger, we have a ring finger, we have a pinky. Why does it just go big toe, pinky toe? What happened to all the toes in between? Why don't they get named, Ray?
I bet they have names.
What are they?
I don't
never
know.
heard them.
No, you can't
I've
have,
been on this planet a while, and I've never heard toe
I know
names.
you've been on this planet a while, but I can't tell you what the name of the toes are.
That part.
I don't know. This is the second time, by the way, in a matter of 2 shows that you have come out of break focused on feet.
Yeah,
I'm starting to ask questions about you,
Rex
Bob.
Ryan vibe?
Yeah, I'm getting a little Rex Ryan vibe from you.
Not at all.
Listen,
I
you
even
can
said
deny
this
it.
weekend I don't like people touching because my wife was going to go for a pedicure. And she was going to go with my daughter, and they were going to take my son, Tommy. He got it done once, and he liked it.
They're very nice.
My friend Rock, who's on his feet.
Never...
No.
Lovely.
Oh, no.
What?
I know.
Whoa. You take dry contacts practically and just shove it in your eyeball, and you won't go get a pedicure?
No, I don't know. I don't want to do that.
Why?
It's like reimagining my closet. It's something I would never do. That's a whole nother story. But Amy.
Anyway, they're called metatarsals. I think that's their medical name.
Well, medical name, but I bet they have
why
real.
Why can't they have individual names?
But we all named them. The only reason you named them is because of the finger family. You like when you're like.
Now I'm going to be searching up name of the toes on.
Pointer finger, where are you?
Here we go.
Kind of thing.
We got
right?
it.
We don't.
Big toe or great toe. The second toe is the long toe. The
Why
third
is it
toe,
the long toe?
It's not the long.
Well, it is the long toe.
Oh, and some people it is.
The big toe's the long toe.
No, that's the big toe.
Well, because he's a bigger toe.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bigger toe.
One's like a skinny toe.
One's the long toe. And then the third toe would be the middle toe.
Well, that's just silly.
Well,
the fourth toe is the ring toe.
There is no such thing. They're just ripping off the finger names.
Most women that wear rings on their feet, I don't think have a specific toe that it goes on.
Oh,
so you wear on your toes?
I would think I used to be, but it would be on my long toe.
Now he's focused on the rings on the feet. He comes right back again to looking at the feet, Bob. I'm getting
Ray,
a
are
little.
you going to tell me the last toe is the pinky toe?
I am.
It's just ripped
or
off.
Baby toe.
That's just ripped off from.
Yeah. Well.
The hand.
Were the feet named first? We just assume. We give more attention to the hands. We could see the hands every day. If we're not Bob, we're giving more attention to the hands.
That's a good point.
Bob, apparently, big feet guy.
Derailed.
I'm not. Like somebody agreed with Dave Dewar on here says, yeah, no one's touching my dogs. I'm not being a snot or anything. I just I do not want people touching my feet. No, I'm good.
It's a jacuzzi tub,
in a good,
and they like.
Well, that's fine if it's your significant other or whatever. Yeah, that's
like a pedicure lady.
No, I don't need pedicure later doing that. And then somebody else on our YouTube channel says, please keep the camera on Miss Fadul. That's just mean. I have matching blue hat and blue. I just noticed. I didn't even notice.
Well, you also have the red.
Well, you have this hat. You have this hat too. Yeah. So.
I tend not to wear.
All right. What were we talking about, Ray?
The 76ers play a game tonight against the Knicks.
Yeah,
That'll probably be something to talk about.
They absolutely do.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is going to be.
Are you feeling any better now that we've kind of talked through some of these things? Okay.
No, my thumb is still sideways,
all right.
and it's venturing like downward towards my feet. Because
ironically,
this Tyrese Maxey sickness is everything.
But do you really think so? Is it because you think he's not going to play, or is it because you think he's not going to be 100%?
100%.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to be 100%. A sickness sucks, and somebody that needs speed and stamina and all that.
We've seen him play sick before, and he's done very well at it.
I don't remember that.
There was one last year where I think they were very short-handed, and I think he went, or maybe it was 2 years ago. And they went into Denver, I believe it was, and he went crazy. They only had 7 or 8 people. It was everybody was sick on the team, and I think he was feeling some ill effects from it as well. I think he might have missed a game or two afterwards.
Oh, okay.
It's happened in the past. I just think he's a gamer, but I get it. If he's not 100%, you do worry about that. But if Joel Embiid is closer to the percentage that you're comfortable with, maybe that makes up for it.
All right. So to update everybody, let's see, where do we go? The knee, Nick Nurse says he think is fine with Embiid. He asked Embiid, and Embiid said, I'm pretty good. So Nick Nurse kind of shoved that off as, yeah, I think he's fine. Embiid showed up after, according to Keith Pompey, after being in a towel and white sunglasses in the locker room on Saturday after the game. Yesterday, same white sunglasses as he left the hotel to get into a car service. And then today shows up at Madison Square Garden with another pair of sunglasses on inside the building.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on there. And now Tyrese Maxey has been ruled questionable because he is down with a sickness. Did not make shoot-around today. But Nick Nurse, number 7 here, Ray. Nick Nurse was asked about, and I gave this number earlier, and I'm going to give you a quote from Nick Batum that I teased earlier also. But 21 points the Sixers were outscored by in 11 and a half minutes that Joel Embiid didn't play. Nick Nurse was asked about that.
Well, we had another one of those, second quarter starts where we didn't guard anybody. Right? And we had a hell of a first quarter. We come out to start the second quarter, and it's bang, 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 and like the quarter's off to a really bad start. I'd imagine most of that happened in that. How many minutes was it? He was off the floor? Yeah. Probably most of that plus minus that you're talking about happened in about 4 minutes to start the second quarter.
The frustration that's coming out of Nick Nurse is kind of surprising me.
Is it surprising you?
It is. The more it goes on, it is. Yeah, because, look, this is just me. I'm kind of feeling I don't know what the hell they were doing out there at times.
Well, yeah.
I'm kind of getting that feeling.
Especially when he starts it with, it was one of those things, like we've done before. He gave you that vibe of like, hey, here we go again. We're having another bad second quarter. That's frustrating.
You think that's all in the planning of his? Like he wants his team to hear him say that? Like, yeah, I don't know why they do it. They do it. They shouldn't. I don't know why I told them to watch out for the Knicks' offensive rebounding, and they didn't stop it. I don't know. Do you think there's a message to the team, or do you think he's just generally frustrated?
I think he's generally just like, we've already been over this. I don't want to talk about it anymore. We're talking about it now. In general frustration with his team, not overtly frustrated. I don't think it's a John Tortorella kind of vibe of where he's going to start calling people out. But I think there was a general frustration of, again, with the second quarter. And that second quarter was abysmal. And it was bang, bang, bang. He's right. It was like one thing after another. It was not only just offensive rebounds. It was shots going in. It was lack of rotating over on defense. They were completely lost. And, yes, a good chunk of it was when Joel Embiid was out. But the other parts of it were you can't blame a 12-point quarter on no Joel Embiid. That's everybody. It's the whole team.
Yeah, that was as ugly could be.
I've never seen anything quite like that.
And to see a lead dissipate that quickly and then grow that much the other way as it did for the Knicks. Now, look, they found a spark plug in Deuce McBride, and he came in for Dante DiVincenzo and just started going nuts. But a lot of them were open shots.
Yeah.
And like Nick Nurse says, we didn't play any defense. Mm-hmm. That's something you can correct. I mean, that is something.
You're not going to see a 12-point quarter again.
No, and I understand that you're more crowding the lane without a Joel Embiid. You might be staying off your man a little bit so as not to get beat off the dribble because you don't have that rim protector there. I don't know. Is that a case where a Mo Bamba sees some time in order for you to be able to play better perimeter defense when Joel? Don't know. Don't know if that's part of it. There's so many different ways, I think, that we've talked about today, different ways that Nick Nurse can go tonight. Yeah. We talked about Paul Reed, Joel Embiid. Well, I don't know. Tyrese Maxey might not be able to go 44 tonight.
Right.
What's that mean? Campaign gets 10, 12 minutes?
A little bit more from Buddy Hield.
A little bit more from Buddy Hield. I mean, if Tobias Harris starts, having – I was going to say NBA poops, but if he starts just not playing well again, how much patience do you have with him?
Game 2 and a game that you need, let's face it, you want to get the split. You need the split.
Yeah.
You don't want to go 7. You don't want to have a game 7 at the Garden. You got to get the split. That's what you're playing for. You're playing for the split. You can forget about game 1. So I think you have a shorter leash than you would have otherwise.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how that's going to go tonight. If the game starts and Tobias Harris is either not there or misses shots early, you're running the risk of maybe losing him if it's a quick hook.
If he's taking shots, that's one thing. If he's disappearing and there's no shots even being considered, I think that's a different story for me. If I see that, I see like a level of just not like, I don't want to say apathy, but like that level of like, all right, I'm not into it, just not feeling it, I'm not being aggressive, I'm not being decisive, then I would have a quicker hook. I get that you might lose him, but that would be it for me.
Okay.
I'd need to take a break from him.
Dean in Philly wants to talk about the Sixers maybe bouncing back tonight. Dean, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
What's going on? I believe they will bounce back.
And even with the situation with Tobias, if he starts struggling, give him some easier looks and get him into the rhythm. Because this is the playoffs. This is not the time to take down or have a lack of energy or anything like that. I think we will win tonight.
How do you get him better looks? How do you get him easy looks, Dean?
You get him stuff like going to the basket, making layups or something like that. Because the thing about it is you don't want to destroy his confidence as far as shooting.
You make a great point there. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate the call. With you there, and I think that I'm honestly not saying this in a mean way, because we've all been there, whether it's work, sports, whatever. There's a confidence level that sometimes isn't as high as it should be, and I think Tobias is shakingly there right now. You talked about I don't think he's a very confident player right now.
Well, no, and Dean brought up something about like the layups. I think the opposite of what you want to do. His confidence is exceptionally low when he's so close to the basket. How many bunnies have you seen Tobias Harris miss in his career?
Yeah.
So I like the idea of maybe creating something for him, setting up a certain play, getting him a catch and shoot three where he doesn't have to think about it, maybe driving the lane a little bit and creating a little contact, get to the free throw line. But I don't think having him cut and get something at like a lay-in, that's where he's least confident right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking block shots,
really
you're talking
bad.
strips, which happened an awful lot with him.
Very tentative.
You know, they did a good job, I thought, that at times when Josh Hart was on him, that's 6'5" versus 6'9". He's got an advantage here. If that does happen, if you want to get his confidence going early, I could see a case where it's an ISO back down, let him go one-on-one, and see what you got. And maybe you try it 2 out of 5 times down the floor to say, all right, we need you to get going. Here's a good way to do it. Let's go. Everybody else be ready for an offensive rebound or whatever.
The flip side is, why are we 5 years into Tobias Harris and we're having to call in plays and to get somebody involved in a playoff game? That's the flip side.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
There's always a flip side. Get the zapper ready. Uncle Frank,
he's here
on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Frank?
Happy sunny Monday, squad. Hope all is well.
All's great.
My man, Bobby, I got to tell you, you were so right last week. I can't give a one-word answer. It's just not my DNA. So, yes, I did struggle with that.
All right.
So, I'm having agita over our Sixers. I'll start with, Tobias Harris needs to start the game with some dog in him, or dare he give him a quick hook? Like Amy said, it's 5 years he's been here, and this is a big game. And Embiid, now look, Joel had a decent game Saturday, but when your legs, he can't shoot threes late in the fourth quarter when he has no legs. Or leave him out there, open the floor up, or let Maxey penetrate, because frankly, no one can stop him. And Joe falling on the floor. Anyway, that's an old topic. If I'm there as a floor cleaner, I'd want to get paid time and a half. And please, for the love of God, please attack. How about this, guys? You've heard this, and I still teach grade school ball. When a shot goes up, put a butt in a gut. I mean, the rebounding has been atrocious. So, with all that being said, I don't see Hart and McBride are going to shoot threes like that again. I can't imagine so.
I can't either. I can't either, Uncle Frank, and thanks. Appreciate it, buddy. Always love your calls. You know that. That might be the biggest thing that you think you won't see. I think I read it or somebody said it. I haven't checked the accuracy of it. I thought somebody said, maybe it was you guys, that's the first time Josh Hart has made more than three-pointers in a game this year.
Yeah, this season that was his first four three-point made.
Right, yeah.
And he was 4 for 8. He's not a volume shooter from three like Dante DiVincenzo. That guy averages 12 attempts at three.
Right.
But so you can see him going 4 for 12.
Yeah.
Not Josh Hart. He just doesn't shoot that many.
No, he doesn't. Somebody said to me, well, one of the things you might not see is DiVincenzo not playing that well again. You got his game out of McBride.
Right.
So,
You'll have that. That's one guy
that's
right
a trade-off
there.
there. Okay, when we get back, we'll dip a little bit more. I want to tell you about the Nico Batum quote that was out there that he said yesterday that I thought was really pretty cool. So we'll look at that. We'll look at Sixers, Knicks. Everything is all out there. Amy Fadul joining us today. This is Middays. Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now,
welcome back on this busy Monday. As we can't forget, the Philadelphia Phillies have won 6 in a row, Aim. Six in a row, and they're in Cincinnati tonight for a 6:40 start. Ranger Suarez on the mound. I gave the numbers earlier. In the last 6 starts that the Phillies have won, their starting pitching has a 0.81 ERA. So that's a lot of fun. Have that going on tonight. Also, of course, right here on the Fanatic at 7:30, Game 2, Sixers, Knicks. Before that game, you will have, who is it? Me, Pat.
Tyrone?
I don't know. Is it me, Pat, and D?
I think it's you, Pat, and D, I believe.
I'm sorry. There's so much scheduling going on here.
There's a lot.
Like,
Listen,
my
I love
mind
it.
is, but me, Pat, and D will be here tonight from 6 o'clock to game time.
Good show.
To take you into the Sixers. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. I do also want to tell you, First Heating and Air Conditioning, get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. So that's what you have going on tonight. We've been breaking down this Sixers-Knicks series, Game 1, and looking ahead to Game 2 is what we're going to do for about the last half hour of the show. Needs, wants, all of those things going on. But to update you, as we learned, oh, you got to be kidding me, the day just keeps getting better. So we have Joel Embiid showing up after the game into the locker room, according to Keith Pompey, with a towel on after getting a shower and white sunglasses. We have Joel Embiid going into a car service yesterday out of the hotel in Manhattan with those same white sunglasses on. Yes, today at shoot-around, Joel Embiid, there's no sun in there, Aim. If you haven't ever been there, there's lights.
Of course I've been to
but
the
there's
Garden.
no sun.
What kind of basketball fan would I be?
I know. He walks in, hood on, and another pair of sunglasses. Is there an eye situation? Maybe. We know about the knee situation, which appears to me to be fine. As Amy said, think it's more mental than physical. Tyrese Maxey did not go to shoot around today, is listed as questionable tonight as he has a sickness going on. And now we just find out, your Philadelphia Phillies, Bryce Harper is on paternity list. That's okay. I can live with that.
I was going to say, this guy said he'd leave the Masters, and all of a
You know
sudden
he's gonna be okay with
lumping in paternity list with
You know what? My wife,
things
Donna,
going
brought
to
that up
Sixers.
again to me this weekend.
It is a hot topic.
Oh, I didn't mean to start this again.
She really believes that I wouldn't leave. And what bothers me more is that she doesn't believe me. And I swear I feel it more than anything. I swear
believe
to
you.
God I would leave.
I think you're wrong, but I believe you.
But
yes.
If you're my wife and you're having, I don't mean that
Masters.
much to you, but
It's the Sunday Masters.
Scott, it's
Well,
our
we're not gonna-
child.
I get
50 Masters, there's going to be 150 more. We're only lucky enough to have 4 kids.
Okay, that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And something could go wrong. I see your side of it.
thank you.
Cody Clemens is the call-up to take his place. Remember our
is
friend
it?
Cody Clemens with the K?
Sure, I remember Cody Clemens. All right, so what do you do tonight? Bryce Harper's out at first base. Is it as simple as Cody Clemens goes at first? Do you go maybe Bohm goes over to first and you get, I don't know, Whit Merrifield maybe at third base? Something like, I think I'd put Whit in the lineup.
Yeah, I would probably put Whit in the lineup. I don't know about moving Bohm. I get it. Like, obviously, he played first base. He's a natural first baseman, I think, if you think about inherently where his skill set is. But he plays a nice third, and you need to keep that confidence going. So I don't mess with that too much.
Okay. All right.
That's just me.
Maybe Stubbsy gets move over to first.
Don't hate that.
He did go night day catching duties. Maybe that's a thought.
Okay.
Biscuit the bus driver, my man. What's going on, Biscuit?
Buddy, how you been doing?
I've been doing great. How about you?
I'm good. This is the first time I talked to you since I normally I talk to you early in the morning.
I know. I love it. I'm glad you're calling.
I'm glad, but I'm going to make this real quick. Embiid is going to be fine. Maxey, I pray that he's everything good. I'm counting on Tobias Harris to come out of this little shell and Kelly Oubre. If everybody stick to the and get Reed and Embiid to play at one point in the game together, we should be fine.
It's funny that we're calling on it, Biscuit, isn't it? It's funny we're calling for Embiid and Reed to be together on the floor when we've seen it for a total of about 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, we have to. You got to switch it up. You got to utilize all the bench that you got. I mean,
us on middays, all right?
I love it.
All right, I got you, man.
All
Have
right,
a good
buddy.
one.
All right, take care. Biscuit the bus driver.
I love it.
You've never had the what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Pleasure?
You're staring
Pleasure.
at me.
There it is.
Thank you. Wow,
The pleasure of talking
did not know where
Biscuit
we were
the
going there first.
bus driver. We're going
Well,
It's
for
getting
and
scary.
Jerry,
I'm
yeah.
able to finish his sentences now.
So we've been
Oh, I
together.
got feet going in my head. I don't know what's going on here. All right, when we get back, I want to have a better feel from you guys. What do you think about tonight? Now, pretty much everybody we've had, Aim, has said, yeah, they're going to bounce back tonight.
Isn't
It's
that
all
a
going to
good
be
sign,
good.
though?
That is a good sign, and most signs point towards that.
Yeah.
And I also failed to tell you again about the Nick Batum quote, so we'll do that at the top of the hour. Middays here today. We have Amy Fadul joining us, Bob Cooney, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
6.
Bets, whether you win or lose, that you can use during the NBA playoffs. So many great things you can bet on. I don't know. If you took the over on Knicks three-pointers, you probably hit on that. All of the home teams won in the first round, so maybe you want to look to take those teams given the points out. First basket score. You can do so many things, but all you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Bob. That's FanDuel.com/Bob to get it all started. FanDuel, official sports betting.